What is up, hooligans, and happy freedom. Welcome to another episode of Coffee with Hooligans, where we try to make the news suck a little less. I appreciate all of you guys being here. If you're over on Rumble, please hit that like button. More likes equals more hooligans. So the press briefing started. I wasn't intending on covering it, but old man Shit Your Pants showed up for the press briefing, so we're going to see what this is all about.
The election, and that's why he has not agreed to a diplomatic solution.
No administration has helped Israel more than I have. None. And I think Bibi should remember that. And whether he's trying to influence the election or not, I don't know, but I'm not counting on that.
You've said many times recently that you want to speak to him, that you plan to.
No, I didn't say plan to. I didn't say want to.
You don't want to?
No, I didn't say that. You're making it sound like I'm seeking and then speaking. I'm assuming when they make the judgment of how they're going to respond, we will then have a discussion.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President, for being here. What are you advising the Israelis to do in terms of their retaliation to Iran? And at this point, you still haven't spoken to Netanyahu. Is it fair to say that you have little personal influence over what he decides to do?
No. Look, our teams are in contact 12 hours a day. They're constantly in contact. I've already had my presidential daily brief. We've already had interface between our military, the diplomats. It's in constant contact. They are trying to figure out, it's high holidays as well. They're not going to make a decision immediately. And so we're going to wait to see when they want to talk.
But over the past few months, they've consistently defied your administration's own advice. So do you believe that the Israelis are going to listen to the advice you're giving them?
What I know is the plan that I put together received the support of the UN Security Council, the vast majority of our allies around the world, as a way to bring this to an end. Look, the Israelis have every right to respond to the vicious attacks on them, not just from the Iranians, but from everyone from Hezbollah to the Houthis. Anyway, and but the fact is that they have to be very much more careful about dealing with civilian casualties.
So how should they respond? You expressed concerns about attacks on Iranian oil facilities. How should they respond?
That's between me and them.
All right, we got to move on. Go ahead, Tam.
The election is a month away. One, I'd like to know how you're feeling about how this election is going. And then also, do you have confidence that it will be a free and fair election and that it will be peaceful?
Two separate questions.
Very much.
I'm confident it'll be free and fair. I don't know whether it'll be peaceful. The things that Trump has said and the things that he said last time out when he didn't like the outcome of the election were very dangerous. If you notice, I noticed that the vice presidential Republican candidate did not say he'd accept the outcome of the election. They haven't even accepted the outcome of the last election. So I'm concerned about what they're going to do.
Are you making any preparations, getting security briefings related to domestic security?
I always get those briefings.
All right, we got to move on. Go ahead, Keila, and then we have to do a couple more.
Hi, Mr. President. When are you considering imposing sanctions on Iran, and would you include oil in those sanctions?
That's under consideration right now, the whole thing. I'm not going to discuss that out loud.
And just on your comments yesterday on the port strike, you said, by the grace of God, it's going to hold. Is there any reason you think that this
Well, there's more to
temporary
do.
suspension?
A month from now, there's more to do in terms of everything from the whole notion of mechanization of the ports and the like. There's more to resolve.
Go ahead, Daniel.
Thanks, Green. Thank you, Mr. President. Last night you said that there's still a lot to do to avoid an all-out war in the Middle East. I mean, firstly, aren't we pretty close to that definition already? And secondly, what can you really do to stop that happening?
There's a lot we are doing. The main thing we can do is try to rally the rest of the world and our allies into participating, like the French are in Lebanon and other places, to tamp this down. And but when you have proxies as irrational as Hezbollah and the Houthis, and it's a hard thing to determine.
Got to lose.
I gotta go, kid.
I know. He's telling me I gotta go.
I said I'd take a couple questions.
All right, you're the last.
I think she's increasing her credibility with it.
You have to take some more.
Toulouse, you're going to be the last one.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you for spending some time here with us. There have obviously been a number of crises that the country has been facing over the past several days, with the hurricane, with the port strike, with the situation in the Middle East. Can you talk about how your vice president, who is running for the presidency, has worked on these crises and what role she has played over the past several days?
Well, I'm in constant contact with her. She's aware we're singing from the same song sheet. She helped pass all the laws that are being employed now. She was a major player in everything we've done, including passage of legislation which we were told we could never pass. And so she's been, and her staff is interlocked with mine in terms of all the things we're doing.
Mr. President, did you ever think about
Totally up to you, sir. All right, go ahead. Yeah, Nandita, sir, no, sir. I didn't call on you, sir. Nandita.
Thank you.
Nandita, go, Nandita.
Mr. President,
Pope Francis calling for a day of prayer and fasting.
Prayer and fasting this Monday, October 7th. Your reaction, sir?
I will prayer and fast.
okay, that's acceptable to you in terms of Israel's response. How long are you okay with Israel bombing Lebanon? What is acceptable to you?
Mr. President?
All right, guys, that's it. Thank you.
This is what happens when you wait 4 years to talk to the American people.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Long-range weapons?
Do you want to reconsider dropping out of the race?
I'm back in.
What made you want to come here today, Mr. President?
All right, everybody.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Come back. Thank you.
Can we do that again? No. You heard I was already told that.
So that's why we were late.
I mean, are we always on time? I could call myself out for that. All right, everybody. Thank you so much. Thank you, Mr. President. Okay, so this week the United States has faced a number of competing challenges, from tensions in the Middle East to a port strike that threatened our nation's supply chains to a historic...
She's already got her orange jumpsuit on.
...entire communities. Moments like these underscore the importance of American leadership and resolve, and they show what is possible when we come together. Under the leadership of President Biden and Vice President Harris, we were able to successfully protect our allies, ensure the viability of critical supplies, stand up for good-paying union jobs, and get resources to people impacted by the storm in North Carolina and beyond. In the Middle East, the president showed that our ironclad support for Israelis' security is not just a talking point, it saves lives. Prior to Iran's attack on Israel, the president convened his national security team in the Situation Room to monitor developments in real time, ensure we were prepared to assist in Israelis' defense and protect U.S. personnel in the region. Under the president's leadership, the United States successfully defended Israel from Iran's missiles, standing shoulder to shoulder with the people of Israel. On the home front, the president and his team brought union workers, ocean carriers, and port operators to the table to successfully resolve a strike that threatened U.S. supply chains and the economic progress this president has made to lower prices for the American people. And in the southeast United States, the administration pre-positioned 15,000 federal personnel along with critical resources like food, water, and fuel to ensure that communities in the path of Hurricane Helene were prepared ahead of the storm. Now we are getting more resources into the hardest hit communities every day, and we have provided over $45 million directly to individuals and families to help them recover. And a wide range of bipartisan officials, including the governors of every affected state, are working together with us and have praised the federal response. These responses underscore why leadership matters. The president's leadership in this moment helps to save lives,
protect critical alliances.
What the hell is she talking about?
Our economy remains strong. But more importantly, it proves that nothing is beyond America's capacity when we do it together. And really quickly, because I know you all asked for this, this is the week ahead. Next week, the president will travel to Milwaukee, Wisconsin to discuss his administration's work to replace lead pipes in the state and across the country through the bipartisan infrastructure law. This law is investing historic resources into our communities and creating good-paying jobs. The president will also be traveling to Philadelphia for a campaign engagement. He will also travel to Germany and Angola to underscore the enduring strength and importance of two strategic bilateral relationships in addressing a comprehensive range of global challenges. The value of strong alliances.
She sounds like Biden reading right now.
Democracy has never resonated more in Europe, Africa, and beyond. President Biden has made revitalizing our international alliances and partnerships a key priority, recognizing that today's challenges require global perspectives and shared responses. Those are the details I am able to share with for now, but certainly we will have more in the upcoming days. And finally, we have Lael Brainard, our national economic advisor to the president. She's going to provide more information on how the president helped reopen our ports, as well as the strong job market economy report that we saw today, showing that more than 250,000 jobs this September under the President Biden.
Well, thanks, Corinne.
What is that?
Today, it is a good day for American workers and families. We saw more than 250,000 new jobs created in the month of September.
She's scary as shit.
Unemployment back down to 4.1% at a time when inflation is back down to pre-pandemic levels. The East Coast and Gulf ports are opening back up, and dock workers are getting back to work.
That thing's name was Alan over the weekend.
Tentative agreement on wages and a contract extension between the International Longshoremen's Association and the United States Maritime Alliance. Just a week ago, the negotiation had totally stalled out. The union and employers had not spoken to each other for months. The last time a wage offer had been put on the table was in the middle of 2023. The president and the vice president directed us to get the parties back to the table to reach a good deal. We worked around the clock to help them find common ground. And the president was clear throughout that process on three things. We needed to get the union and the employers back to the table on the basis of a strong progress on wages, so nothing would get in the way of hurricane recovery. Taft-Hartley was off the table because collective bargaining works, and workers should share in the large profits of the ocean carriers, particularly after those dock workers sacrificed so much to keep goods moving for the American public during the pandemic. And as a result of the hard work that I undertook along with Secretary Buttigieg, Secretary Sue, a number of people in the White House, we are seeing dock workers get a fair share of the industry's record returns. We're seeing ports opening so consumers and businesses can get what they need. And we don't expect to see any effects on our economy or for consumers, businesses, and farmers because we have strong supply chains that we built in the wake of the pandemic.
Lying makes you weak.
The president and the vice president have consistently supported the collective bargaining process. When employers and workers come to the table, they find a good outcome. That's a vastly different approach from previous administrations that might have busted unions and rolled back worker protections. And finally, I would simply say that the data that we're seeing, the data we saw last week, confirms that our economy is delivering for workers.
All right, that'll take a couple of questions. Go ahead, Zelle.
Thank you so much for being here. Would you say at this point that the U.S. has achieved a soft landing? And if not, at what point will we be there?
Yeah, I would say that, look, we have seen unemployment, the lowest average unemployment rate of any administration in 50 years, and we have seen inflation come back down to pre-pandemic levels.
How does that work? If President Trump had the lowest unemployment rate in history, how did they have the lowest unemployment rate just in the last 50 years? How does that work?
And we're continuing to see very resilient consumers. So yes, that's exactly the kind of Goldilocks results that you would want to see.
The Goldilocks results.
If I can ask about an otherwise strong jobs report, you still had manufacturing employment dip by 7,000. What do you think is happening in the manufacturing sector right now? Is this a response to higher rates, or are you seeing something else going on?
Yeah, so I think if you look more broadly across the administration, you have seen manufacturing jobs growing by more than 700,000. In contrast to the previous administration that actually saw manufacturing job losses even before the pandemic. And I think the right way to think about this, because we have so much new investment dollars from the Investing in America agenda, the right way to think about it is to look at construction and manufacturing jobs together. And there what we've seen is continued growth. That construction workforce is hard at work with factory construction that is multiples of the previous administrations. That construction of factories is going to turn into the manufacturing jobs of the future. So we see that investment in today's economy, whether it be in chip manufacturing or clean energy, that's going to result in tomorrow's manufacturing jobs.
Thank you, Helene. Just after the last Fed rate cut, do you think the administration has won its fight against inflation?
So I would say if you look at the data on inflation, it is now back down to pre-pandemic levels. Don't forget, nobody said that could happen with a strong labor market. I think people just really need to go back and see some of the predictions. Nobody thought we could have the strongest recovery in our peer economies, strongest on jobs, strongest on growth, and get inflation down as fast as we did. And so that just shows that the president's investments and the focus on supply chains has really worked.
And just to follow up on the consumer confidence numbers, I mean, there was an upward revision in August, but now it's down in September. I'm just sort of wondering if you can comment on that.
Yeah, so I think the most recent Michigan sentiment numbers actually are showing strength. And, you know, if you look at what consumers are talking about, they're talking about good jobs, good job opportunities, and we've seen a lot of people moving into new sectors with better wages. And there is now a lot more confidence that interest rates are coming down, inflation is down, and that's going to enable consumers to feel more confident about investing in some of those bigger ticket items.
All right, just a couple more.
Are they friend or foe?
On the jobs report, the data also showed that the employment picture in July and August was also brighter than previously thought. For Americans who are concerned about the rate that they may pay on their mortgage or their car that they might buy, what do you see that doing to the path of interest rates going forward?
You know, I think that we are now in a part of the recovery where inflation is back down, and that's really what is going to determine whether interest rates continue to fall. And market interest rates have remained low. Mortgage rates have come all the way down close to 6%. We anticipate, because inflation is back down, that will continue to show through to market rates.
And on the hurricane that ravaged the Southeast, what are your early indications of how that could impact economic growth and the jobs picture in November with so many in that region out of work?
Yeah, so we do think normally with a hurricane of this size, with the devastation that it has caused in many communities, that it will affect the employment statistics for that month. But what we know is that generally you see the economy overall bouncing back very quickly, and the growth numbers really becoming sort of strong pretty rapidly because of all that rebuilding activity that we are committed to.
Yeah, Jackie.
That was my on interest rates, yeah. How concerned are you right now about the instability in the Middle East and its impact on oil prices?
Yeah, so It is something that we track very closely. Obviously, prices at the pump right now, $3.18 on average. Not that I track it closely, but that is today's number, and below $3 in many states.
Where? I just paid like $3.40 for gas.
Local markets are well supplied, and continue to expect that in the U.S. we'll continue to see those low gas prices. And of course, we have really effective ways of addressing some of those geostrategic volatility. We've used it in the past. We have the capacity to use it again. So right now, markets are very well supplied, and we anticipate them to remain so.
All right, last question. Nope, Jared?
Okay.
No, I can go to Garen, too.
A federal judge in Missouri issued an injunction blocking the president's student loan program hours after a judge in Georgia allowed it to advance. What is the White House's message to this dizzying legal battle, and that was lifted up as an economic policy, to particularly closing the racial wealth gap? And what is your message to Black and Brown Americans who are really relying on this relief?
Yeah, so student loan debt relief is so important for so many young
Does that mean like white people don't get student loan relief?
particularly for people who are first generation, to be able to invest in small businesses, to invest in starting a family, to invest in a house for the first time. So we are going to continue to work to deliver that debt relief to so many students who deserve it. I do want to say that we have 5 million Americans who have already received debt relief, and you can go on TikTok and other social media platforms and see their testimonials.
I thought TikTok was bad. What do you mean?
Why the president, vice president, going to continue working so hard to deliver.
Get your tarded ass off the fucking stage. Jesus loves us.
No, not right now. I'm not talking to you.
Eat shit.
It'd be nice if you would be less disrespectful in the room.
Prostitute. Second question.
Inappropriately. Okay, go ahead, Josh. I don't know if maybe you guys are done with me. Maybe I can.
We're so done with you.
You guys got all the best. You guys got all the best. Go ahead, Josh.
So we were to zoom out.
Yeah.
President Biden came in here today.
Yeah.
He's going to be with Pennsylvania Senator Bob Casey this week. Then he goes to Germany and Angola. He said he's singing from the same song sheet as Vice President Kamala Harris on the campaign. How does he see his public role in the next few weeks as we get closer to the election? What's he trying to achieve, and how's he thinking about it?
I think he's doing his job as president, right? I think that's the most important thing. I mean, I started off at the top, at least at this part of the program, where I said that we've had 3 major events happen this week.
Basically, a cat could be president at this point.
Shoulder and shoulder to deal with these major events. Now we see a deal with the port, a negotiated deal with the ports. Obviously, that collective bargaining is extended until January 15th, which is incredibly important, especially in the midst of a hurricane that we saw, this historic hurricane that we just saw, Hurricane Helene. We see what's happening in the Middle East. The president and the vice president continue to have diplomatic conversations, if you will, to de-escalate, to deal with what we're seeing in the region, and the hurricane. You saw the vice president in Georgia, the president in North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia himself, and also in Florida, pardon me. And so I think what you're going to see is him continuing to do his job, working closely with the vice president. Look, before Hurricane Helene, President Biden was planning to campaign this week. And you heard me say he's going to go to Pennsylvania. He's going to go to Wisconsin next week. And so we have, you all have covered how much of a whirlwind week this has been. And so the president is going to be president. He's going to be commander in chief. And obviously he's going to be supporting his vice president. I can't speak specifically about the campaign because of we do respect the Hatch Act here, at least for myself as a federal employee and many of us here. And so, look, he's going to continue to do the work that he's doing. We saw strong jobs numbers. That's one of the reasons he came out. He came out because he wanted to talk about that. He wanted to talk about what we have seen this week. And so look, we're going to continue to doing the work, and I think that's what the American people want to see. Good, Celine.
Thanks, Corinne. So, former President Donald Trump threatened to revoke the legal status of Haitian migrants. What is the president's reaction to that? This is something that the former president had tried to do during his own administration.
Look, here's the fact. The fact is they're here illegally, right? That is the fact. TPS, that's what it gives you. And honestly, I wouldn't take legal advice from the former president. I don't know. That's not something I would do.
Okay. How concerned is the administration about the economic impact of Hurricane Helene?
Look, as you can see, we have been working around the clock. The president directed his team very early on to work around the clock to make sure that the states that were affected, the states that he's visited and the vice president has visited over the past couple of days, got everything that they need. And we did that by pre-positioning some of the personnel, about 1,500 federal personnel, to do that. What we are doing, we're going to make sure, obviously we're going to always monitor any of the economic impact, but we're going to continue to make sure that we are focused on life-saving and life-sustaining efforts. That's the focus that we're going to have here, and we're going to continue to monitor, but obviously reacting and providing the needs of the states right now, of citizens who are living in those states, is probably the most key and most important, and continue to call on Congress to move forward with additional funding. As you know, in the CR, there was a robust ask for funding, for disaster funding, and that didn't make it in the bipartisan CR. And so we got to get that done, and we're going to continue to have conversations with Congress.
I tried asking the president.
I've called on you like 3 times today. I know some folks in the back are just going to be like, yeah. So. Yep, I hear you. I hear you, Kimberly. I hear you.
What is acceptable to the U.S. in terms of Israel's response, right? How long is the U.S. comfortable with Israel bombing Lebanon?
I know you guys are going to ask this question every which way, and I totally understand that. We are having conversations, discussions. We're in contact with the Israelis on what's next. We have been very clear there will be consequences. You saw the joint statement, the G7. There's going to be consequences. There's going to be sanctions. And I'm not going to preview those sanctions from here. But we have always said Israel has the right to defend itself. And you saw just on Tuesday night, and not just Tuesday night, in April, how much we are prepared to defend and protect Israel, because that is our ironclad commitment. I'm not going to get into diplomatic conversations in the public here.
And there was a report that quotes U.S. officials saying the White House wants to take advantage of the massive blow to Hezbollah's leadership and infrastructure to push for a new Lebanese president in the coming days. Can you comment on that?
I'm not going to comment on that. I'm not going to comment on sources or reporting out there. That is not something that I'm going to speak to, sourcing that I can't even verify from here. Go ahead.
Thank you. On the port strike, reaching a tentative agreement, the White House and several officials were involved in the 90-day extension of those talks. I'm wondering what the significance of that timeline is, and whether the election being 5 weeks away played any role in it.
Look, this is about the right thing to do for workers. Many of those workers put their lives at risk during the pandemic. We have always said collective bargaining works. We believe it works, and we have seen parties reach a fair agreement when they come to the table and in good faith and do that collective bargaining. This is what's important. It was important to this president to get this done. This is not about an election. This is about what is the right thing to do for the American people. This is the right thing to do for for workers, again, who deserve higher wages, who deserve benefits. And so the president is proud to have been able to do that. His team, obviously with his team, he directed his team to do this. And so now collective bargaining is going to continue, and we'll see where we are in the next couple of months. But this is not about politics for this president. And you have seen that in the last 3.5 years when we've been in these types of situations where there was negotiation, and we have been very, very clear, collective bargaining and supporting workers.
On congressional funding, you mentioned some of the items that were lacking in the short-term funding bill that Republicans had put forth. I'm wondering if the president has spoken with any members of the Big Four in Congress to bring those concerns to them directly.
So I don't have any conversations to speak to that the president has had with members of Congress. I mean, you saw him on the road. You saw him in a bipartisan way on the road in North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, and Florida. And you saw him with Republican congressional members and governors, and Republican and Democratic congressional members, and also governors. And you saw that bipartisanship. I'm certainly not going to get into any private conversations that they have had, but we will continue to speak to congressional leadership and members about getting that extra funding. It is important. They need to act. They need to act. Go ahead.
Hey, thanks, Corinne. Can you talk about how President Biden will be marking Monday's one-year anniversary of the October summit attack on Israel?
So obviously it's going to be a painful day for many, including for all of us here. And so we will have more to share on how we will be commemorating that devastating day that we saw a year ago. Don't have anything to share at this time.
And secondly, this was President Biden's first time, correct, to the press briefing room since he's. Why
and you're
not,
welcome. You're welcome. I know this. I know where this question is going to go. It's going to be great. It's going to be great.
Question, but that's all right. But real quick, why not? Why didn't he come in the 3.5 years before? Why?
I mean, he came today, and you got to see him, and you were here.
He had the opportunity.
Oh man, come on, come on. He was here. He took your questions, and he did. He is every Friday with the POTUS. Friday with the POTUS. You guys got to bring the ice cream. You guys got to bring the ice cream. Okay, I'm going to do a couple more. Go ahead. I haven't called on you. Go ahead.
Thank you, Kevin. I want to go back to Haitians and the TPS, but first, it's another week of misery in Haiti. There was this report from the World Food Program describing acute hunger. What more can the U.S. do to improve the situation in Haiti? And if there's no improvement, is it conceivable that the TPS for Haitians will never be lifted?
So look, on your last question, I'll do that first. The last part of your question, I'll do that first. I can't predetermine what TPS status is going to be. It's not something that I can do from here. Obviously, as you know, that is a decision with DHS and the State Department. They decide the TPS and the best way to move forward. So I'm not going to get into hypothetical about that. But as it relates to Haiti more broadly and to the question of instability and what's happening, look, despite the instability that continues, the recent deployment, as you know, of MSS mission is a unique opportunity to build a foundation of security and bring hope to Haitians that deserve to live their lives free of violence. And so to that end, the United States has delivered well over $300 million to support the MSS mission while urging the international community to support that mission as well. The United States will continue to hold those undermining Haiti's institutions and committing serious human rights abuses accountable. That is our commitment. We are committed to doing our part both to address immediate security needs and invest in Haiti's long-term successes. We stand with the people of Haiti and will continue supporting their aspirations of more security, certainly democratic and prosperous future. That is our commitment, and we'll continue to support the mission. Go ahead, Michael.
Thanks, Corinne. It seems as if the president's spoken with pretty much every governor in the affected...
He has, that was affected in the region.
But has he spoken with Governor DeSantis of Florida?
Touche, good point. Touche. And I think we read out that he spoke to the governor of Tennessee on our way back from our trip to Florida and Georgia yesterday. I don't have a conversation to read out with the governor of Florida, but what I can say is that we have been in touch. Our team has been in touch with local officials on the ground. We are committed to providing what is needed in the state, obviously to those who were affected in the state, and our commitment is clear. The president has always said it doesn't matter if you're in a red state or a blue state. He's a president for all Americans, and that continues to be certainly his commitment. Okay, I know I'm getting pulled, but go ahead.
Thank you, Corinne. The president seemed to suggest that he is asking, or he seems to be suggesting that Israel should consider other alternatives rather than attacking Iranian oil facilities. But should Israel make such an attack, how is the administration preparing for an Iranian retaliation on the Strait of Hormuz that would disrupt oil supply and disrupt oil prices globally?
So also, as the president said, we continue to have these discussions. I'm not going to get into hypotheticals. About Israel's response to Tuesday night attacks. What I will say is that we understand that they are still determining what exactly they will do. That is something that we understand. I'm just not going to prejudge. I'm not going to get ahead of anything, and the discussions to continue.
But can we say that the administration is preparing for that possibility?
I'm just not going to I'm not going to speculate. They're still, I'm telling you, they're still haven't decided what their next steps are going to be. Okay. So that's what I'm saying to you. That's what we understand. I don't have anything else beyond that.
On Angola, on the president's trip, Corinne, Amnesty International is criticizing the administration's, quote, silence on human rights violations in Angola ahead of the president's visit, calling out the administration's focus on private sector investment to counter China. This is obviously in reference to the Libido corridor. Can you give us a response?
Look, we get this type of question about human rights violations anytime he travels, and if that's going to come up. The president, as you know, has never shied away from direct conversation about human rights and democracy. In any conversation, and I could expect that he will do the same in this upcoming trip, and so I don't have anything beyond that, but the president has never shied away from that, never shied away. Okay.
Thank you, Corinne. Does the administration have any concerns about how the aftermath of this storm could impact the vote, whether it's talking to the Postal Service about mail-in ballots that may not be getting to people, or impacting the infrastructure in these critical states?
So look, we are using every available resources to help this community respond. That's what we're going to do and recover from this disaster. That is our commitment. That's what you've heard from this president. That's what you heard from the FEMA administrator and so many others in the president's administration. And certainly that means ensuring that Americans' voices are heard this November. And so that is our commitment. We want to make sure that people's voices are heard. And so any specifics on where the infrastructure is and what that looks like, certainly I would have to refer you to the state election officials on those, and cybersecurity and infrastructure and all of those pieces on what that looks like for them. But
states voice concerns to the administration?
I cannot speak to that. I have not heard of that. But look, our commitment, again, is to make sure that the resources available so that community can respond to recovery and also get back on their feet and deal with this disaster. We want to make sure that Americans' voices are heard this November. That is important, and so, but certainly that is something that state elected officials can speak to more directly. But we're going to try and make sure they get back on the feet. I know I haven't called any yet.
Thank you. Former President Trump is accusing the Biden administration of using FEMA funding to support undocumented migrants. How is the White House responding to that?
I mean, it's just categorically false. It is not true. It is a false statement. And look, the fact of the matter is, I think Washington Post fact checker did a piece, and the headline recently, just moments ago, not too long ago, and the headline was, "No, Biden did not take FEMA relief money to use on migrants, but Trump did." I'll leave it there.
follow up? Secretary Mayorkas had said earlier this week that he was concerned that FEMA didn't have enough funding until the end for the rest of the hurricane season. Now that President Biden has seen the damage firsthand in the Carolinas, Florida, Georgia, heard him say at the podium he may have to call Congress back from recess. What exactly is he waiting for to be able to make that call?
Look, here's the thing. We put forth a pretty substantial, robust, I mentioned this moments ago, to be part of the CR. We were disappointed that it was not part of the CR. And if congressional Republicans were serious, if they were really truly serious about doing something for the communities that was impacted by Hurricane Helene, they would join us in calling for additional funding. This is what we've been doing. And so if they're serious, they would get to work and get that done, just like with the border. If they were serious about the border, they wouldn't vote against their own bipartisan proposal that they worked with us on.
If you were serious about the border, you'd just fucking close it.
They would move it forward. It would actually start fixing the broken system that we're seeing right now. And, you know, they can, if they really want to help us in dealing what we're seeing, whether it's at the border or getting more funding for disaster monies that's going to be needed to get into the communities, they should be serious. Congressional Republicans need to get serious here, and they're just not.
Just a quick question on the port strike suspension. Is the White House going to continue to be in touch with ILA and sort of support those negotiations as they continue?
I think, look, there's congressional collective bargaining continues. I think that's really important. That's what we're seeing, and that's what we want to continue to see. And so we will be in touch as necessary. But I think what's important is they came up with an agreement. That's because of this president's leadership, and the way to get this done is continuing that collective bargaining, and we believe that certainly works. Thanks, everybody. All right, have a great weekend.
Thank you.
Okay, once again, bonne chance.
Well, hooligans, there was the press briefing. I was surprised to see old man shit your pants up there. Can't believe it. What's even worse is they try to play it off like this is a normal thing. She's like, what do you mean? What do you mean? He was just here. He was just here speaking to you guys. Yeah, for the first time in 4 fucking years. I'm like, what are you talking about? And she's like, you need to bring ice cream next time. I was like, holy shit, the gifts, they just write themselves. Anyways, let's go ahead and get into the schedule here. At 3:45, which is about 45 minutes from now, President Trump will be live. And it's titled, President Trump and Governor Kemp hold a press conference in Evans, Georgia. We'll be covering that, like I said, in about 45 minutes. Then later on today, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, we will be covering President Trump once again. It's titled, President Trump hosts a town hall in Fayetteville, North Carolina. Fayetteville? I don't know, somewhere in North Carolina. President Trump will be live 7 p.m. Eastern Time. We'll be covering that. 6 p.m. Eastern Time, we will be over on the website doing our voice chat, which is a lot of fun. So we're going to be busy today. With that being said, I want to remind you guys, if you would like to join the website, right now is the time to do it. Go get yourself a membership for jeffmaclive.com. That way you can watch today's live. You can post in Hooligans Alley. You can hang out with all the hooligans in the group chat. Plus, you'll be able to join us today, 6 p.m. Eastern Time, for our voice chat, which is a lot of fun. So definitely go get yourself a membership for jeffmaclive.com. We'll be starting off with a video titled, Missouri Judge Blocks Biden Student Loan Forgiveness Amid State Disputes. You couldn't tell by listening to the press briefing because they act like everything's fucking great over there. It's just sunshine and rainbows all day. Well, that's not the case. That's not the case. They're out here lying to people about student loan forgiveness and all of that. I have $42,000 in student loan debt. I don't want these people to forgive my debt. It's not up to the government or American tax dollars to pay my fucking debt. So I don't understand all that, but man, they're trying to get some blue votes by making these false promises. Then we got a video of a couple of heroes. It's titled, Pretty Incredible Retired NASCAR Driver Rescues Stranded Helene Victims. Again, we have Americans helping Americans. Now, as far as I know, these individuals were not threatened to be arrested for helping people in need. So that's good. They got to do the thing and help a few Americans, which is a good deal. Then we got a very short video. It's titled, Disgrace. Trump sounds off on Biden's use of FEMA funds for illegal border crossers. Well, that's what KJP was just crying about, claiming that didn't happen. I like how she tried to take a little short jab at President Trump. She's like, well, Biden didn't do that. Biden didn't spend FEMA funds on border crossers, but Trump did. Okay, well, we didn't have 25 million illegals in the country when Trump was running things. So what the fuck are you talking about, KJP? Nothing. Just lying out of her tight little asshole. Anyways, then we have a video titled Port Strike Suspended. ILA agrees to 62% wage hike. The strike is suspended until January 15th. The wealthy strike leader that we were talking about yesterday and a little bit the day before, he's really mad because everybody was posting his address and pictures of his house and discussing his wealth and all of that. And they say you're a bunch of really mean hooligans for doing that. He also says that the reason that everybody was posting that is because everyone is interested in hurting the strikers' ability to negotiate at the table. So it's, again, a big middle finger to all of us because we exposed him for being wealthy or whatever the fuck. I don't know. People crying hard all damn day. Then we got a video titled Trump to hold Butler rally nearly 3 months after assassination attempt. Believe it's Saturday. We will be covering President Trump. I think it's about 7 p.m. Eastern time. He will be back in Butler, Pennsylvania, where he was shot in the ear. They're claiming there's going to be more security than last time. We'll see. And then they're also going to interview an individual who provided a recording of the shooting that happened on J13. I almost said J6. That was the wrong J. Anyways, that's a pretty good video. And then we have the last little bit of our news is titled Michigan Dems turning to GOP because they're at a wit's end, says Mike Rogers, talking about more blue team hopping over to the red side because blue team isn't Democrats, they're commies right now. Then we got 2 funny videos of the day. The first one's titled What the Diddy Raid Was Like. And then the official funny video of the day is titled Why Are You Talking About Subaru Like That? All of that's coming up next. But first, we're going to get into this chat here, or this first video here. There's too many of you in the chat at this point. I can't say hello to you, so happy freedom, you hooligans. Anyways, we're going to get into this first video. This is titled Missouri Judge Blocks Biden's Student Loan Forgiveness Amid State Disputes. Like I said, just crying and lying to student loan people, individuals that have federal loans, promising that it'll be forgiven and you'll just get free money to pay off your debt. Well, that's not the case. Now, before we get into this, I want to remind you guys really quick, we have these Outraged Hooligan t-shirts. It says, if you are not outraged, you are not paying attention. This design was created by Alistair because he's such a badass. It comes in shirts for men, shirts for women, tank tops for men, tank tops for women, pullover hoodies, zipper hoodies, coffee mugs, stickers, and dog tags. Today I got on the I am an American and I do not comply t-shirt. We have lots of items and lots of designs over on the merch store. I'll drop the link in the chat while we're watching this first video.
An 11th hour reversal on the Biden administration's student loan relief plan. A Missouri judge is temporarily blocking it just hours after a Georgia court allowed a temporary hold to expire. Tens of millions of borrowers now wondering if their debt is going to be forgiven. News Nation's Elizabeth Pran has more for us on this one. Elizabeth, happy Friday to you. That reversal, that was handed down somewhat quickly.
Yeah, wow, talk about a short-lived victory by the Biden administration. You're going to have to bear with me because there's a lot of back and forth, a lot of moving parts, and this is happening in real time, right? The Biden administration has been really wanting the student loan forgiveness to stick. This was a campaign promise. He's already done multiple phases. And then you see the court system either halting it or giving it a green light. And it goes either it happens in swing states, it happens in red states. And keep in mind, obviously, we're only a month away from Election Day. So a Georgia judge this week essentially told Republican lawyers that they didn't have a case. So they left that restraining order to expire. Then, as you mentioned, the 11th hour Missouri judge filed an injunction. It's back in limbo. So what states are involved? What states are challenging the Biden administration? You have Georgia, Missouri, Alabama, Arkansas, Florida, North Dakota, and Ohio. So the district judge in Georgia basically said that these lawyers didn't prove that the $73 billion forgiveness plan, this phase, would hurt voters and that they wouldn't lose funding. But you have legal jujitsu because if you look at the Missouri judge, he basically says, first of all, the program cannot continue because it is in the legal system. The Biden administration was saying it can continue while it was in limbo. But it also says that that particular state does have a student loan program that would be hurt. It would lose funding if this were rolled out. Okay, so who does this apply to? People at home might be wondering. So if you have up to $20,000 in interest or more than the initial loan was. If you make less than $120,000 a year as a single person, if you make less than $240,000 a year as a couple, if you have been paying for more than 2 decades, you also have to prove that you haven't applied for this before. One thing I do want to mention, Marquis, we talk about the U.S. national debt because there's 2 sides to every story and there's critics, right? If you look at that clock, it's upwards of $35 trillion. In 2023, the Supreme Court said the Biden administration cannot provide more than $430 billion worth of relief. The Biden administration plans right now to relieve at least $150 billion over the course of 10 years. So we're watching it in real time, Marquis. We'll see what developments take place.
Yeah, because I know a whole lot of American families are like, hey now, what does this mean for me and what we owe? Elizabeth Pran, thank you so much for that update there. Thanks for watching, everybody.
Well, lying to everybody about student loan forgiveness, I was just thinking about how this is going to look like a shit show when President Trump gets into office and he cuts off all that nonsense. He's not going to allow that to continue to roll. All it does is keep getting knocked down. They keep rewording everything and then sending it back to the Supreme Court. Supreme Court's like, no, this is not constitutional, and sending it back to them. And it just goes back and forth and back and forth. When President Trump is in office, he's going to shut that down, and all the little crying stupid liberals are going to hear that and go, oh no, he took away our student loan forgiveness. You don't deserve free money, you dumbass. Like, how you go to college and be that fucking stupid? I don't get it. Anyways, next up we have pretty incredible retired NASCAR driver rescues stranded Helene victims. It's 2 individuals that are actually out there helping Americans, which is pretty badass. But first, we're going to read through the chat really quick and see what you hooligans think about that student loan forgiveness. Also, I have the Trump Live pulled up, so we're not late like we were yesterday or whenever that happened. That was the first time I've ever messed that up. Anyways, I have it pulled up, so as soon as President Trump steps out on stage, we will put that on the screen. He's not expected to be on stage for another 40 minutes, but either way, I don't want to miss it like last time. And last time we only missed a minute, so, it's not really that big of a deal. Anyways, we're going to read through the chat really quick, and we're going to hear about these heroes out here saving people that are suffering from Hurricane Helene. Guess served 4 years in the military and will forgive the loan. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. Isn't it already like that? You get $20K or something for serving 4 years in the Army. Who knows what it is now. That's what it was when I was in high school. Join the Army and you'll get a new Camaro or whatever. That's how it was. Russell, rescue me while driving a NASCAR. Well, that's not exactly how it happened. I don't know why. They just publicity reasons. That's why they labeled it like that. But yeah, I don't think he's picking up people in a NASCAR. I don't think they actually mention it. Maybe he was. Breeze by you, the screaming libs will be very loud. I assume they'll start burning shit down again. I don't think it'll ever be like it was in 2020. Not in our lifetime. Not unless something fucking crazy happens. I don't think it'll be that crazy, but I think people will probably get mad and go out there and hit the streets and do their crying in the street like they do. Russell, get a loan and pay it back. That's how it works, Russell. Yeah, Zero, we would be better off if we didn't have DC running everything. They're just a bunch of liars. KJP was just telling stories. She was just telling stories. Nothing she was saying was even kind of true. Guess you crack me up. You're willing to go rescue all those pretty ladies suffering from the hurricane? How can you tell if they're pretty? Because women now, they got to wear 40 pounds of cancer-causing chemicals on their face or else they won't leave the house. Well, after they've been suffering 5 days from a hurricane, they're probably not wearing makeup anymore. How will you tell if they're pretty? They shave their fucking eyebrows off and everything else. I don't know. One of these days, the women are going to start offing themselves. That's what's going to happen, right? They can only prettify themselves so much before they start losing their marbles. What's up, Kicks? Happy freedom. Kung Fu, those first guys stopped by the feds in the helicopter. Yeah, and I haven't heard anything else about that guy. I can't believe he left someone stranded. He went and picked up his co-pilot, and they had picked up like a couple, but they didn't have enough room. So they picked up the wife, and they dropped her off somewhere, and it was just the pilot and the wife. He left his co-pilot with the husband, And then he got stopped. And they were like, well, don't go back. And he's like, I gotta go back and get my co-pilot. And they were like, you do, you'll be arrested. Well, he did anyways. But he left the husband there. He was like, yeah, co-pilot, get in the chopper. Sorry, husband, the police say I can't save you. And then just flew away. It's like, holy shit, that couldn't have been me. But, you know, it's his freedom. And like you guys were saying yesterday, maybe he could have lost his pilot license. And, well, I don't have one, so I don't know what it would be like to put one on the line. You know, that's kind of up to him. Screaming Eagle, stay strapped and have plenty of ammo. That's right. That's the American way. Ghostly co-pilot was his son. Yep. Wow, Josh. Happy freedom. I don't think I've ever heard it like that. What's up, David? Happy freedom to you. Yeah, Kung Fu, you're right. But he went back and got his son. He just left the husband on a mountain somewhere. DeMarquise, judge can't block executive orders. I don't think the student loan thing is executive orders. Otherwise, the Supreme Court wouldn't be ruling on it. They would just deal with it, I guess. But it's hard to say. It's all a sham. I know that. What's up, UJ? Happy freedom. Crazy times. That's crazy. That shit's crazy. Can't help fellow Americans. Nope. Not allowed to do anything. What's up, Shauna Vision? Happy freedom. Hurley Girl, there's a GI Bill that I believe helps with schooling for the military, if my memory serves me right. Yeah, Hurley Girl, I think it depends on what all you're signing up for, but I know they offer you a lot of benefits and stuff. Andrew, helicopter pilot license, 70,000. Really? I didn't know it was that much. I know they train pilots in Ludington, or they used to at least, and you could go and it doesn't even take a lot from what I understand. And I think it depends on, like, it's probably like a car license. There's like different levels of what you can fly and whatnot. But I know there was people getting their pilot license like left and right. Like it was easier than getting a driver's license, but I'm sure it wasn't like commercial flying or anything like that. CB, all the people need to really understand what the communists are doing to America. I agree. I reach as far as I can. It's up to you guys to share out the live. Snooks, why are you saying this to me? What did I say to deserve that response? Some men like a little lipstick kiss on their thangs. I mean, I guess. I suppose. I've never had no lipstick on my thing. What's it like to wash lipstick off? What if it's the waterproof lipstick? You're over there just scrubbing your meat and stuff? Anyways, we're just going to go ahead and move forward. It ain't Saturday yet. Getting carried away here. Anyways, we're going to get into this next video here before President Trump steps on stage in about 30 minutes or whenever he decides to do that. This next one's titled, Pretty Incredible. Retired NASCAR driver rescues stranded Helene victims. And they weren't stopped by the local PD. Or whoever the hell was interfering with Americans being rescued. Now let's go ahead and get into this, but first, hit that like button over on Rumble.
Government fails to protect its citizens, its most sacred duty. It takes friends, family, neighbors, and volunteers to step in. Retired NASCAR driver Greg Biffle has been flying over Hurricane Helene's warpath and saving lives. Here he is landing his chopper on a steep North Carolina mountain to help a couple who caught his eye just by holding up a mirror to the sky. Biffle was able to get them chainsaw, EpiPens, insulin, chicken food, formula, gas, oil, some homemade sandwiches, what they needed. Biffle and his co-pilot have helped hundreds of stranded residents. And while hundreds are still missing, it's people like Greg and his team who fill the gap when the government can't provide. Retired NASCAR driver Greg Biffle and his co-pilot Aaron Lloyd are here. Guys, thank you. First of all, everybody thanks you. I mean, without you guys, I mean, people are just really, really in need. When you saw these couples hold this mirror up into the sky, you must have barely seen that, right?
You're exactly right. You know, we're flying around. We have general areas we're looking, and we've got coordinates, and we're trying to find people that are requesting help. But obviously, everybody needs help. And I caught out of the corner of my eye, I saw the mirror flashing, and I told Aaron, I said, I think I saw a flash over there. And so we started, circling around and looking. And that canyon was so far down in there, you can't see. There's power lines across it. It was one of the most difficult landings as a pilot in this mission so far. You can see the power lines there that I've made. And it makes you feel good to be able to get things to these folks that are making a difference.
And Aaron, when you're down there helping these people, what are they telling you?
Just the relief that you can see in their face and their eyes and their voice. Just seeing people privately come in here and help them bring supplies, know that somebody's out there doing something. I mean, it's one of the greatest feelings in the world to watch the relief on those people when you get there. But man, there's a lot of people out there that are isolated and need a lot of help.
I bet. And Greg, how can we help people out there, or how can they get a hold of you or flag you down? What do you want to tell the people out there now?
Well, definitely, there's lots of efforts going on, and the response has been incredible. It started out the first day with 2 helicopters, the next morning with 8, by the end of that day 25, and now probably 50 or 60 helicopters turning and burning just missions, and people are bringing supplies to the Hickory Statesville Airport. That we're getting coordinates. The helicopter lands, all the supplied goods are weighed. They go into the helicopters, into the fixed wing. The whole hangar is full of 7,500 people volunteering. Amazon trucks are showing up of people buying supplies and shipping them to the airport. It's pretty incredible response. And I'll tell you what,
how can we
go ahead? Up my phone of all the messages I've gotten for people that want to come help.
That's great. I mean, you've kicked off a real spirit of volunteerism and bravery, and we appreciate that a lot. Everybody does. Greg and Aaron, thank you. Keep up the great work, and hold those mirrors to the sky, guys, if you need any help. The bird will be there.
Absolutely. Love your show.
Thank you.
Well, I didn't mean to play the beats through the whole video. I can't hear it, so my bad on that. But either way, you should have been able to still hear what was going on. I will try to keep an eye on that better. Anyways, a couple of guys out there helping Americans, which is really good, because the last time we covered a story, like I said, they got stopped by the police and they were told to just leave Americans stranded. And then you hear about the FEMA running out of aid, and then the White House comes out and acts like everything's A-okay. They're just saving everyone. They got Captain Planet out there right now, like just lying. And that kind of lying is dangerous, because that might make Americans who were gung-ho in the last 24 hours to make it to a disaster zone and maybe help other Americans. Well, if they watch the White House press briefing, they just got all the wind taken out of their sails. They're like, oh, we don't have to get off our ass. The White House has it covered. Well, that's not true. That's not true. They're just lying to everyone. And if anything, it's probably because it's all a part of the same agenda. If the White House says they're going to help everyone and they tell all of America, don't go help these people because the White House is helping, well, now no one's coming to help, right? Well, the White House isn't helping anyone either. So what happens when there's no help? Everyone dies. And when they die, they don't have to return to their homes. If they don't return to their homes, well, I guess they'll be able to start that lithium mining project, won't they? And it all kind of makes sense when you say it out loud. They're all in on this shit together. And that's the problem. Next up, we have disgrace. Trump sounds off on Biden's use of FEMA funds for illegal border crossers. Now, it's a really short story, but it's coming up next. First, we're going to read through the chat, see what you hooligans think about these heroes out here. Zero, they want to confiscate all the land for lithium mining. Yep. And back in 2015, I think it was, they sent letters to a bunch of Americans, and I don't think it was just here in Michigan. I think it was nationwide. But they sent a bunch of letters out saying that something had passed, and if the federal government deemed it necessary, they could take over your property and remove you from the property with force if necessary. And everyone got this. I mean, we got it at the house I was living at before I lived here, and everybody I know got it at the same time. It was something that passed in 2015, and everybody was worried about the Jade Helm project, which you guys probably don't remember that because nobody remembers anything but me for some reason. But back then they announced that, and if North Carolina or any of those other places have that piece of paper, like they were under that same thing, well, then it really wouldn't take anything for the federal government to show up and just lay claim on that property. They could say, well, this is a disaster area, we're going to make this a base now, and we're all going to sit here as our headquarters while we try to figure out how to help everyone, and you just have to go the fuck away, or else you'll be arrested. And I'm pretty sure it said indefinitely. You could be arrested indefinitely. You will just die in prison if you refuse to allow the federal government to come take over your property. So you should definitely look into that. I remember I was really pissed off when it happened, but I wasn't the homeowner, so I was told to shut the fuck up and go sit down in the basement where I lived. But anyways, that was a different life. Anyways, reading through the chat really quick, and we'll get on to this next video. Like I said, it's a short video of President Trump talking about what's going on with the FEMA doll hairs. And Ukraine has a lot of lithium as well. Is that why we're funding them? It's hard to say, Annette. I know that Ukraine is some little baby project for the government. They love the Ukraine. I'm not sure why, though. Guess I'm imminent. Why can't I talk today? I'm going to piss myself off. Eminent domain laws. Yep. Guess that's exactly what I'm talking about. Breeze by you, that's so awesome. There's so many good Americans. I agree. Zero, that was a big mirror too. It was a good idea for them to do that, because it's not like you can, shoot at helicopters and stuff. So how do you get their attention? I think flashing laser lights at them is illegal too. Pretty sure that's a federal crime. So it was pretty smart for them to use reflection, to use a mirror to try and get the attention. Breeze by you, I'm so worried about the guy that got stranded. Like, I don't understand how you can leave like that. Sorry, dude, at least the wife's good, but good luck. Hope you survive. I mean, that right there is just an analogy of what it's like to be a man. Let's see. I can't help with that because we will get arrested. I don't understand this. How can you fly away and leave a guy on the ground? I hope he's okay. Yeah, Breeze by you, I assume he's okay just because, yeah, how would that not weigh on your conscience? You see a couple, you're trying to help them, you assume you're helping them. So you tell your co-pilot, get the fuck out, we're going to have the wife get in, I'll come back for you and the husband, and then get intercepted in the meantime by the police saying, no, you can't go help those people. So then you go up the mountain anyways, against orders. You're already breaking the law at that point, just to get the co-pilot. He might as well just thrown the husband in the helicopter, but he decided against it. Maybe that's how he avoided getting arrested, is he went back for his co-pilot, which is a pretty understandable thing. But he did not continue to rescue people, which was the overall threat. So I feel like that would weigh on my conscience because life matters more than dumb things. But I'm not that guy, so I don't know. It's rough stuff. I know that. Screaming Eagle, help me steal my property and convince me that it's my own good. Yeah, Screaming Eagle, it sounds just like the SS, don't it? It's like the Gestapo around here. They're like, get on the train, it's good for you. He was like, all right, let's do the thing. Let's do the thing. Air 16, we have lithium here also on federal land that they will not let us mine. Interesting, Air 16. Trump Girl, the wife and husband were reunited yesterday. Well, thank you for letting me know, Trump Girl. What time is it? We got 24 minutes until the Orange Eagle is expected on stage. David, is lithium the new gold? I think it has to do with the EV batteries. I don't know a whole lot about it, but I'm pretty sure that's what it has to do with, is battery stuff. Josh, thanks, Obama. Yeah. That's exactly what happened. Because Obama went in there and did all that stuff. Bobby, they need toilet paper. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. They need a little bit of everything. They need water more than Flint, Michigan. That's what somebody should do. All these people claiming they want to be president and shit. Nobody wants to fix Flint's water. Flint's water is like the eighth wonder of the world at this point. It's like everybody knows that Flint has the worst water in the country and just leaves it like that. So we can always point to Flint and go, well, at least it's not as bad as Flint. How come nobody fixes that? I don't get that at all. Trump girl China wants the lithium. Well, and old man Walter's in power, so it's all making sense. Plastic quack, Ukraine is number 2 in the world of resources. They have tons of vital stuff that we need. Why do you think we're going there to begin with? Regime change to trade with Zelensky sold out his country. Yeah, plastic quack. Ukraine pretty much belongs to us with as much money as we've sent over there. Marquise, see Jeff, she needed that mirror to put on her makeup. I knew it. I knew it. That's what was happening. She's putting on her makeup. Her husband was like, hold up, I got an idea. Ripped the mirror away, and she's like calling him names and chasing after him in her bathrobe. And he's like flagging down the helicopter. He's like, please come save me from this woman. That's how they figured it out. That's how it went. Uj, I saw the first half hour of Trump last night. But what I saw was pretty good. Yeah, he's doing good. He's out here kicking ass. This is what it looks like right now. 20 minutes before he's expected on stage. This is just what they're showing us right now. This is a press conference. Oh, yeah, it says right at the bottom there. It's supposed to be some presser. It's not a rally. It's not a town hall. I think later on is a town hall. Let me see. Yeah, tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern time, we'll be covering President Trump for the town hall. But this upcoming live, which is supposed to happen in 31 minutes, is supposed to be President Trump and Governor Kemp hold a press conference in Evans, Georgia. It's coming up. It's coming up. Swank, what do you think about the mining oceans? I don't even know what that is. I don't know. Lone Wolf, I can't read that out loud, but I bet you're right. I bet you're right. I bet that's exactly why they don't fix that place. Amazing disgrace. I don't live near Flint, but I still don't drink the tap water. Well, they did a bunch of tests here in Michigan like a year or two ago, and they found out that it was both sides of the state got lead in the water. It's not just on the Detroit side, it's on my side too, but it's down south. Where I live is beaches and stuff. There's different kinds of filtration here, but down south where they don't have beaches, they don't have anything, they just got stagnant lead water out near Buchanan and stuff like that. But nobody talks about it. They found it, they tested it, they found out the water was bad, they charged the former governor for some reason, and then they never fixed anything. And what's really crazy is even like in Muskegon, which is like an hour from me, they got wooden crates as joints for their water mains. So the water goes down the water main, and then when it's going to elbow into another water main, it goes through a wooden crate. So all the water is going through a wood box before it continues down the way. But only people who work on the water mains, like the town hall and the people who work for the city, only they know about it. But they're told not to tell anybody. But a lot of my buddies work in those positions. So I know about all this shit, but I'm not supposed to tell anybody. And well, here I am on the internet telling everybody. But anyways, no one's coming to help us. We are all we have. Anyways, we're going to go ahead and get into this next video here. It's titled, Disgrace. Trump sounds off on Biden's use of FEMA funds for illegal border crossers. Now, before we get into this, I want to remind you guys really quick, if you would like to participate in Free Speech Saturday, post all of your memes over on Discord or on jeffmaclive.com. Just hop in the group chats on either platform. You'll see the tabs labeled memes. Drop what you got and we'll shout you out as we're making Saturdays more fun. Get into this Trump video. It's a really short one. It's only like 30 seconds long. All right. Once again, this is Disgrace. Trump sounds off on Biden's use of FEMA funds for illegal border crossers.
Listen to what Donald Trump had to say about Joe Biden's response. Watch this.
DHS says FEMA doesn't have enough money to last hurricane season. What's your reaction to hearing that?
Well, they're doing a very bad job. They've given over $1 billion to illegal migrants that came in, and now they have no money for North Carolina, for Georgia, for South Carolina, and Alabama, Tennessee, and Florida. I think that's a disgrace, frankly. It's the worst run. This is a country that's being run by fools.
Being run by fools. Strong words, as always, from Donald Trump. Jason Chaffetz joins us this morning. Jason, great to see you. I think we're just now getting a sense of the scale of the damage that was done by Helene, especially in western North Carolina. Absolutely devastated. My question...
Anyways, got a little sidetracked there. President Trump telling you how it is as he does. That's why I like President Trump, because he just says it like it is. Next up we have, and we'll probably just get right into this. Let me see. It is titled, Port Strike Suspended, ILA Agrees to 62% Wage Hike. So the port strike is going to be suspended until January 15th. In this video, they're also going to talk about how their wealthy strike leaders all mad at everybody because they were doxing him, which is a reason to be mad. But they put a lot of spotlight on him being a millionaire and having two separate $1 million mansions, a Bentley, and a bunch of other stuff like making $900,000 a year. He thinks that you guys are really mean for saying that stuff and telling everybody his business. And he said the only reason you did that is because you want to hurt the strikers' ability to negotiate at the table. You big meanies. Telling all his damn business out there. Alliance. He's going to come get you in the middle of the night like Hillary Clinton. I'll tell you what. Anyways, we're going to go ahead and get into this. Once again, it is titled, Port Strike Suspended. ILA Agrees to 62% Wage Hike. Don't forget, hit that like button over on Rumble.
I'm Andrew Kraft. Thanks so much for being with us here on this very busy Thursday. We're a little past the top of the hour. It's a new hour, 4 o'clock here on the West Coast, 7 o'clock there on the East Coast. We have breaking news that we want to get to right now. You'll remember if you were joining us on midnight on Monday, October the 1st, when those port workers went on strike. They went off the job onto the picket line. We are breaking in right now because the parties have reached a tentative agreement here. We have live pictures. I'm going to bring some of them up here, not only in New York, but also there at the Port of Savannah in Georgia as well. Well, this is what we know. The union representing those 45,000 striking U.S. dock workers at ports up and down the eastern seaboard and the Gulf Coast. Well, they have reached a deal with the U.S. Maritime Alliance to suspend their strike until January the 15th to provide time to negotiate a new contract. That's according to a person briefed on the matter to Fox here. So the strike is over for now. There's this 90-day window for talks to continue. This is tentative at the moment here. If talks break down past January 15th, presumably the strike will go into effect. But they have bought themselves time here. The union, remember, the International Longshoremen's Association, will resume working immediately, at least until January the 15th. The agreement will allow both the union and the U.S. Maritime Alliance, which represents both the shippers and the ports here, time to negotiate a new 6-year contract. So the person to the Associated Press also said both sides reached agreement on wage increases, but details were not available here. Fox Business, though, does have the details. If no full deal is reached by then, by January the 15th, the offer that is on the table right now, that offer is a 62% wage increase. That hike will be pulled from the table if in the interim they cannot still agree on this here. This is a conditional offer. It's been made to the ILA. The ILA has accepted this right now, 62% wage increase here. Not entirely sure if they have agreed or not on some of these other concerns these dock workers had, like the threat of automation to their jobs, also some with regard to their retirement plans as well. This is what we know right now. The deal reached only matters right now with their base pay, with their wages, and they're getting a 62% hike. It's on the table, that offer for the next 90 days here. In the meantime, we are getting in right now a joint statement in from both parties. Let's take that here. All right, so this is what they say. This is a joint statement between the ILA and the Maritime Alliance, quote, that the International Longshoremen's Association and the United States Maritime Alliance Limited have reached a tentative agreement on wages and have agreed to extend the master contract until January 15th, 2025 to return to the bargaining table to negotiate all other outstanding issues. Effective immediately, all current job actions will cease and all work covered by the master contract will resume here. So this was about a 3.5-day strike here. We've covered a lot of union strikes here at Live Now. This one, not very long at all here. We do have live pictures. I believe this is in Red Hook in Brooklyn at the moment, a live picture there. And you can see it looks like some of these striking dock workers who are no longer striking, waving the American flag. You see there our friend Fox's Connor Hansen. He's on the scene there in Red Hook in Brooklyn. Of course, we know the largest port on the East Coast. That's the port of New York and New Jersey here. We've been showing you some of these scenes throughout the last 3.5 days here. This is happening very, very fast. Just happened within the last 30 minutes here. Let's put up some of these tweets. The Associated Press has it that the union representing 45,000 striking U.S. dock workers at East and Gulf Coast ports has reached a deal to suspend their strike until January the 15th to provide time to negotiate a new contract. Now, this doesn't mean this is over by any means. All it means is that these dock workers, they will get back on the job while the parties that represent them, the union that represents them, led by the ILA president, Harold Daggett, he will be back at the table with the U.S. Maritime Alliance here. Now, the ILA this morning put out quite a testy, tense, long statement on their Facebook page, really criticizing members of the media. There was a piece in the New York Post just yesterday kind of detailing, outlining some of Harold Daggett's lavish expenditures and mansion there, talking about his lifestyle. And Daggett really went after the Post for that. He said the newspaper this week published aerial photographs of his New Jersey home, including posting his address in an article. He says they printed other details of his personal life full of false accusations against him with the sole intent on destroying his character and disparaging his 68-year ILA career with the intention of weakening his ability to negotiate a new master contract for ILA members. That was this morning, and how the hours have progressed and the news has progressed here, that the port strike has been suspended for now at least 90 days while the parties get back to the table. Detroit, the Associated Press Dateline has it that a source saying that the union for those 45,000 U.S. dock workers have agreed to suspend the strike until January 15th to provide time to negotiate their new contract here. So this is happening very fast. Of course, we've relied so heavily on global shipping analyst, our friend Sal Mercogliano, saying this on Twitter: word is officially out on the port strike, a 24-hour $1 an hour raise spread across 6 years that amounts to 61%, and an agreement on container royalties and a committee that will be formed on automation in the ports. Remember, a lot of these dock workers were very concerned, rightfully so, you would imagine, if you're a dock worker, that automation at these ports would threaten your job and would threaten your livelihood. It seems like now a committee will be formed on that very question here as well. Frank Luntz, our friend, the polling legend and analyst, saying striking U.S. dock workers and port operators have reached a tentative agreement for a wage hike of around 62%. That will end a 3-day strike. Port work could resume as soon as Thursday evening. That's what we are hearing as well, that these dock workers, they're not going to wait till tomorrow, that they're going to get on the docks back to work in no time by sometime tonight here.
Probably third shift. It'll probably be third shift that decides to pick up and start working again. It's really interesting because I was kind of eager to see how things went when the National Guard showed up. Because yesterday we covered that Ron DeSantis did deploy the National Guard to go pick up where the port strikers left off. That way they would be able to continue things flowing here in America, even including expediting traffic and waiving fees for commercial vehicles to make sure that people can get the goods they need, especially those that were affected by Hurricane Helene. And so Ron DeSantis, being a badass, went out there and did the thing. But before we ever got to see the clashing of National Guard and port strikers, they came to a temporary agreement. Now, I seen someone mention in the chat, and I can't remember if it was Zero or who it was, but someone mentioned in the chat, this is going to look like Trump's problem. And I think you're right. I think when they come back, I think it's January 15th, by then President Trump will already be in office. So this port strike reawakening or whatever is going to happen, if they do decide to go back on strike and things don't work out, it will look like a problem for President Trump. Not that it will be. He'll be able to get that settled. No big deal. You know, he's a businessman. He knows how this works. But blue team, they'll be screaming and crying about it. They'll be like, oh, look. Not even 2 weeks in, President Trump's got people going on strike, blah, blah, blah. And that's what they'll say. That's what they say because they're fucking stupid. Soft and stupid people out there in the world. They drive me crazy. Anyways, next up we have Trump to hold Butler rally nearly 3 months after assassination attempt. They're going to make claims that more security is going to be provided this time around. This will be happening Saturday, and we are going to be covering it live, so hopefully you guys will be here Saturday. Not on YouTube. We don't show anything on YouTube on Saturday because it's Free Speech Saturday. So if you're watching on YouTube and you want to see Coffee with Hooligans and President Trump live, you're going to have to learn to leave the communist platform. Anyways, they will also be talking about an individual. They're interviewing this guy in this video. He was recording during J13 and happened to be right next to the building where the shooter was taking those shots. They're going to play those videos during the interview as well. All of that's coming up next. But first, we're going to read through the chat, see what you hooligans think about the port strikers. The pork strikers is what it sounds like I'm saying, but it's not. What are you saying, Breeze, by you? Oh, you must be responding to somebody. Zero. Oh, he gets sworn in on the 20th, so 5 days before he gets sworn in. This one's going to happen. Hold on, something's going on. President Trump isn't expected on stage, but he is in the house. Well, he's actually a little bit early. He's not expected on stage until, well, I guess for another 4 minutes. He's out here meeting and greeting everyone. Look at everyone happy to see him. Thank you so much, Killa J, for gifting subs over on Twitch. You're badass. Thank you so much.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. Let me first of all just say thank you so much for joining us as we continue to work day and night to recover from this historic but also horrific storm. I want to thank you for keeping the nation's attention on those who are hurting in Georgia, and I certainly appreciate President Trump helping us do that as well. You know, Marty and I both had literally been all over the state on the storm path over the last several days, and I told every stop I went to that this storm spared no one. It took one of our finest and a firefighter, Leon Davis, who was an assistant chief in Blackshear, Georgia, when a tree fell on his truck, responding to a call. Just a few miles from here, it took a young mother, just 27 years old, who had 1-month-old twin boys in the bed with her when a tree fell in their home up in Thompson. Just south of here in Washington County, a 7-year-old boy and a 4-year-old girl died when a tree fell on their home, trapped them inside, and their house caught on fire. Marty and I had the opportunity to speak to the emergency crews who responded to both of those situations, and our hearts are still heavy from that tragic event that they experienced and described to us, but also for what they had to endure. There was also a lady trapped in her car for 3 or 4 days, another trapped in her home for the same amount of time. Thankfully, they were rescued by some of our finest. But we've heard of many other horrific stories like this. And all in all, Georgians, we have lost 33 of our fellow citizens as a direct result of Hurricane Helene. But I'm here to tell you, in spite of such tragedy and heartbreak, in spite of the pain that we've seen, there are many stories of hope and perseverance. Over the course of this past week, Marty and I traveled to Valdosta and Augusta and many communities in between. We spent time with linemen from all over the country who came to Georgia to help those in need and get their power back on. We prayed with grieving people and had the honor of shaking hands of those who have worked without sleep, hardly taking any breaks, and without slowing down to get those trapped in homes free. They were feeding those without food and getting housing for those that no longer had a home. In Glasscock County, just up the road, we spent time with the sheriff and his family, all of whom were working around the clock. In Johnson County, not far from here, there's a small church that's serving as a miracle for their community. That congregation did not even exist a few months ago, but this past week they were feeding 400 to 600 people a day. In Sandersville, a pastor prayed for us and commented on the beautiful message on Marty's shirt that she wore for several days in Valdosta, when we were in Valdosta, and red letters that spelled out simply pray. That's a message we all need right now. And I ask that all of you join our family in continuing to pray for those devastated by Hurricane Helene. On Tuesday night, we met linemen in a small Mexican restaurant who came from literally hundreds and hundreds of miles away, from New Jersey, Massachusetts, Chicago, and other places. I joked with the guy from Massachusetts, we normally don't let y'all come down here to Georgia. But I told him how much we were glad to have him, and we appreciated the work that they were doing. The next morning, we tried to go see a bunch of linemen that were having breakfast at one of the tent cities they had set up at a staging site that had over 500 trucks and over 1,000 people. We got out of the car at 6:30 a.m. before the sun was even up, and most of these hard-working people had already eaten breakfast and were walking out to go crank their truck to start working to get people's power back up whom they've never met. Those same linemen were going to keep working well into the night. That is the kind of response that we have seen after this crisis from Georgians and from people far beyond in this state. Resilience and hope have been on full display everywhere we've gone, including right here in Columbia County. We're grateful for those incredible people all over this state, but we're also mindful that every moment of every day since this storm passed, of the loss of life and the devastation that it brought. We knew it was going to be bad, which is why we prepared early, just like they did here in Columbia County. I declared a state of emergency 2 days ahead of the storm, which gave us time to mobilize and prepare for the worst. And I'm so glad that we did, because it impacted literally every part of our state. Many communities have been scarred with major infrastructure damage. And at one point, at least 1.3 million power meters were not functional and many more Georgians were without power. That number, incredibly, is down to 225,000 as we speak. In Atlanta, we saw record rainfall with 11.12 inches of rain in a 48-hour period. The previous state record goes back to 1886 when we had 9.6 inches. As many people around the country know, we are in an agricultural state, with agriculture serving as our #1 industry. Hurricane Helene has wiped out much of this year's crop across the board. Our Agriculture Commissioner, Tyler Harper, couldn't be here today, but he wanted me to pass along a few highlights of this devastation. 35% of our cotton crop is a total loss. 10 to 30% of the peanut crop is lost. 14 dairies across the state are still without power. There was 22 total from the start. Over 222 poultry houses have been destroyed, with hundreds of others damaged and some loss of operations for the entire farm. There's extensive infrastructure damage and loss of livestock facilities. And as I told the President earlier, approximately 4 million acres of timberland has been impacted, and 48,000 acres of pecans have been damaged or destroyed as a result of this storm. I want everyone in this state to know that we are with you during these difficult times, and we aren't going anywhere. We are putting every possible state resource we have at response and recovery, and I've taken several executive authority steps to try to bring relief as quickly as we can. That includes activating and deploying roughly 2,000 Georgia Guardsmen, our citizen soldiers who are doing incredible work in the field. It includes suspending the gas tax for as long as we're under a state of emergency and waiving the penalty on the use of dyed diesel fuel in street vehicles. I want to thank the members of the General Assembly. I know we got some of them here with us today for supporting all of these measures. They are crucial partners in our overall response to this tragic event and have been tireless advocates for the Georgians they represent. And we'll continue to urge FEMA to add more impacted counties to the federal declaration list. We started with just 11, and after a call to both the White House and FEMA, they upped that number considerably up to 44 or 45 counties as we speak. We're also being mindful of our neighbors who have come to our aid in times past. Yesterday, I authorized the Georgia Guard to send a Chinook helicopter and crew to North Carolina to help in ongoing search and rescue operations. What they're going through, what we're all going through, is a living nightmare. And we're going to continue to pull together as we go through this together. These are just a few of the actions that we've taken, but rest assured, we will not stop until everyone is recovered and made whole. Someone sent me a Bible verse earlier today, and I've been thinking a lot about this. It's Galatians 6:9, and it reads, "And let us not grow weary of doing good, for in due season we will reap if we do not give up." Those words epitomize where we are today and our commitment. We are not giving up. We are not going to leave until the job is done. I want to encourage all of our local officials and so many of their citizens that are working so hard on this recovery and helping and talking to people every day. Keep up that great work. Keep the faith and know that we will be with you till the end. It is my honor, and I want to thank President Trump for coming back to our state again for the second time to view storm damage and keep a national focus on our state as we recover. I hope you'll welcome the 45th President of the United States, Donald Trump. Mr. President.
Well, Brian, thank you very much. Your governor's doing a fantastic job, I will tell you that. And we're all with him and with everybody. We've just met a group of really wonderful patriots that are working very hard. They've done it before, but they told me they've never seen one like this, Brian. This is the worst they've seen. And some of them are looking back 25 years. That's a lot. But I want to thank the governor and everybody for having put out to the extent that they've had to. And it's really incredible. Some of the people that we met just now, Congressman Rick Allen, terrific person. Speaker of the Georgia House, John Burns, who's here. Former Congressman Doug Collins. Where's Doug Collins? Is he around here? Doug Collins. What a nice guy he is. Oh, Doug, I haven't seen you in so long. You haven't changed. You look good. You look better, actually, if you want to. State Senator Max Burns, who's here, and District Attorney Barbie Christine. And we want to thank you, but we want to thank the people that are working so hard. And we're here in Evans, Georgia, to express our support, our love, and our prayers, and all of the communities. The suffering is not even believable when you look and you see the kind of suffering that's going on right now. But one of the biggest, I guess, question marks is the fact that there's so many people missing. I've never seen anything where so many, the numbers are so large of those that are missing, Governor, right? So that's something that hopefully they'll be found, and they'll be found very healthy, but it never looks great. Never looks great. Our hearts break for the more than 200 American families who have lost their lives already. Officially 200, and that number, unfortunately, is going to be going up. It's one of the deadliest storms in American history. More than 24 Georgians have died, including a 27-year-old mother and her two precious babies who lived not very far from McDuffie County. And father, a lot of people knew these people. They're great. As father and grandfather, I know that such sudden and tragic loss must be almost unbearable. Don't know how you can even take it. Loved ones all over your county, all over your state, and all over a lot of other states. You have Florida. Think of it. You have Virginia. You have South Carolina, you have Alabama, North Carolina, maybe hit the worst. North Carolina is so bad. I want to thank Elon Musk, by the way, for his quick action with Starlink. He supplied a lot of equipment to the governor, to Georgia, and to North Carolina in particular, and he acted very, very quickly. They needed communication. There was no communication. The poles are down, the wires are down, and he acted really, really quickly. In fact, I called him, and I was getting thank you notices already from North Carolina and Georgia, and I wasn't off the phone with him, so I don't know what the hell I guess he's got some kind of a little special deal going. He works pretty fast, I'll tell you, but he's been great. And Larry Ellison made a very big contribution, and a friend of the governor's and mine is right here, Steve Witkoff, who also made a very big contribution. Steve, we appreciate it very much. Thank you. The homes and roads, as the governor told you, it's all being worked on. Everything's being worked on. And the good thing is when I just met a group, and now I met two groups, and now I'm meeting a third. And I will tell you that I have no doubt that whatever can be done is going to be done. It's going to take time. It's going to take a lot of effort, and it's a very heartbreaking situation. We're going to go to North Carolina now, and we're going to see some of our friends in North Carolina, some very good friends, and they have just been totally devastated. They've never seen anything like this. But I want to thank everybody for being here, and we have a big election coming up, and if I'm involved, I told the governor, if I'm involved, they're going to get the best treatment. They're going to get treatment like we did in the past. We had a big, the farmers got hit very hard, and I guess they got hit just as hard, or maybe, is this worse, or is this of equal? Probably worse. That was a bad one. But we worked 2 or 3 times together in big storms, but I don't think we've seen anything like this. But we got it taken care of in record time, and we will be very open and very committed to this state because it's a great state and you have great leadership, and the governor, again, is doing a fantastic job. So thank everybody very much for being here. I appreciate it, and we may see you later, we may not, but we will be back, and whenever the governor needs us, we will be here. And thank you over there. That's a nice group of people. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. It's great. No. It's great. Yeah, we work together. We've always worked together very well. Really well. It's top. Yes? Yeah. Of course they are. It's been a terrible response from the White House. They're missing $1 billion that was used for another purpose, and nobody's seen anything like that. Now, from that standpoint, it's been terrible. Say it? I'm not thinking about voters right now. I'm thinking about lives, and to be honest, it's much bigger than anything else, but we're thinking about lives, a lot of lives lost, a lot of people missing, and that's what I'd be focused on right now.
You talk about the economy a lot out on the campaign trail. It's a very important issue to you and to your voters as well. Jobs are up, the stock market hit that all-time high. Do you acknowledge that the economy is improving?
No, it's not. It's inflation has devastated our economy. It's one of the big problems we have. And on jobs, we have the illegals have taken more jobs than anybody else. You have illegals coming in and they're taking the jobs. And when you look at the numbers from that standpoint, it's a shame. We have to get the jobs to the people that have lived here for a long time, and they're great citizens of our country. But when you look at the job numbers, they just came out, and then you look at who's getting the jobs, and it's been very unfortunate from that standpoint. You have illegal, you have the migrants, you're reading about it. Now, a lot of the money that was supposed to go to Georgia and supposed to go to North Carolina and all of the others is going and has gone already. It's been gone for people that came into the country illegally, and nobody's ever seen anything like that. That's a shame.
President Biden, a short time ago at the White House, said that he is confident that there will be a free and fair election this November, but he doesn't know if it will be peaceful. Do you agree?
I don't know anything about what he said. I only can hope that it's going to be free and fair, and I think in this state it will be, and I hope in every state it will be, and I think we're going to do very well, but right now we're focused on this. We're not focused on the election. Well, I won it easily in 2016. We actually were very close last time, and right now the recent poll came up, we're up 7. So I think we're pretty far up, and we seem to be going up, and she seems to be going down. So I hope we're going to keep it that way. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you.
President Trump's the man. Look at everyone there, happy to see him. If you were to watch the press briefing and then watch this and you didn't know jack shit, you were just some foreigner, you would be like, this is the guy that's running the show. Because that's what it looks like. He may not be in the Oval Office, but he's still out here doing presidential stuff. Well, we'll hang out with President Trump until he's no longer visible, and then we will move forward with Coffee with Hooligans. In 3 hours, President Trump will be live again for a town hall. I believe it's in North Carolina. I got it on the schedule. I'll look it up in a second. But about 3 more hours, we'll be covering President Trump live for a town hall. It won't be a part of this live, but we will be covering it later. Like I said, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Secret Service always looks like they don't know what they're doing. Pull back the curtain like Wizard of Oz. I think we're good to go. Good to go. Well, we're going to read through the chat really quick and see what you hooligans think about President Trump and everything he was just talking about. I thought it was pretty good that he was kind of creating a division between what they're doing there and what's going on with the election and stuff. They kept asking him questions, especially about what Biden had said during the press briefing and whatnot. President Trump claiming that he hasn't heard about that. He didn't see the video. He doesn't know what Biden was saying during the press briefing. But he just kept saying, he's like, this ain't about the election. This is about lives. And I think that makes him look really good because old man Walter came out and he was just talking nonsense. As he does. Aunt KJP. And that wicked woman that came out. I don't even know what that was. That was a full-blown skinwalker out there at the press briefing. But anyways, we're going to read through the chat. But like I was saying, next up we have Trump to hold Butler rally Butler rally nearly 3 months after assassination attempt. They're going to be talking about how they're going to have more security, and they're also interviewing an individual who was recording during J13 and has footage from the shooter taking shots and things like that. So all of that's coming up next, but first we're going to read through the chat, see what you hooligans think about President Trump being live. Oh, I appreciate you being here, Annette. You be safe out there. Breeze by you, it is about lives. Yep. I'm glad President Trump is out there doing something, because if it wasn't for him, it doesn't seem like help would be on the way. Russell, you ran over your Trump sign. That's blasphemy. People are going to see you doing that, and they're going to get the wrong idea. Zero, telling more truths. Yep. I bet normies feel really confused when they watch the White House press briefing and then they watch something like that and all of the information, literally top to bottom, contradicts itself. Except for President Trump's boots on the ground, everybody at the White House, well, they just have a circle jerk afterwards. So, you know, it's really easy to believe what President Trump is saying versus the White House when all they do is lie and cry about everything. And Kemp had backstabbed President Trump during the 2020 election. Trump is a better man than Kemp. He put all of Kemp's backstabbing behind him to help the people of Georgia. Yeah, and President Trump, he's a badass. He's a badass. Just reading through them. We'll get on to this next video here. Hidu, you going to see President Trump? That'll be badass. Bobby, is it safe to wash your nutsack in Fabuloso? I don't think so. My hands get all weird when I use Fabuloso. That's how I clean the whole house. Never wash my ballies in it, though. I'm not quite sure. I can't give legal advice. Can't give medical advice. I'm not really a gynecologist. I just play one on TV. Era 16 saving lives as Camilla dives. You're right. I like President Trump saying that. He's like, well, we're up and she's going down, but that's okay. Yeah, it is okay. You ain't wrong. Screaming Eagle. President Trump's the fucking boss. And you're not wrong, Screaming Eagle. Pumpkin, Trump is such a nice man. I agree. Kicks, he looks like he's got new SS people. I hope so, because the ones he had, they weren't doing enough. What's up, Mary Todd? Happy freedom. Hidu, which I'm probably saying your name wrong, not intentionally. They're all screaming at him, and nobody asks him for his favorite flavor of ice cream. Yeah, you know, they're just not considerate like that. I still can't believe during the press briefing, KJP was like, next time you guys need to bring him ice cream. I'm like, are you kidding me? She might as well have said, you might just bring him some toddlers. Bring old man Walter some toddlers. He likes that. I'm like, just, I don't know. The jokes write themselves. Hidu, Elon Musk is going to be at the rally? That's badass. That must be what you guys were talking about earlier. I saw someone mention something about Elon Musk, but I didn't know what whoever was talking about. Snooks, you never watch those hangy down things. You're wrong. I watch it all the damn time. Ah, David, I see what you're saying. No. I had to read that a few times before I figured it out. Cash flow, he should have just walked away saying he's not there to answer those type of questions. Well, I think he proved his point. But yeah, that would have been a little bit more than what he did. What's up, Stern? Happy freedom. What's up, Cruz? Happy freedom to you. Cruz, yeah, Elon's going to be at the Butler rally tomorrow, which is dope. Who else is coming? There's a bunch of hooligans that are going to be there, it sounds like. Hooligans Island. What do you guys got? You guys got a troll? Cheeky Chaps. Camilla loves Trump's sack. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. They love it. Alright, Hooligans. I think we're going to move into this next video here. This is Trump to hold Butler rally nearly 3 months after assassination attempt. In the video, they're going to be talking about how they expect to have more security, and they're also going to be interviewing a rally goer that recorded the shooting during J13. Now, before we get into this, I want to remind you guys really quick. If you would like to join the membership program over on Rumble, all you have to do is click that big red subscribe button right below where you type in the chat. Now, if you are on Android and you're using the Rumble app, you're unable to see that big red subscribe button. So you got to go to rumble.com, come to the live, and hop in the chat. Like I said, right below where you type in the chat, you will see that big red subscribe button. Click that button and jump through the hoops, and your name will be highlighted as an official Rumble Hooligan. You'll have access to our custom emojis. We have chapstick emojis, screaming goat emojis, Klaus Daniels emojis, President Trump emojis, and more. It's a lot of fun during the live, especially during a Trump live. So definitely go join the membership program over on Rumble. So let's get this pulled up here. And I think we got one more news video after this, and we have 2 funny videos coming up. And like I said, 6 p.m. Eastern time, we'll be doing our voice chat over on the website. So definitely go get yourself a membership for jeffmaclive.com. Let's get into this. Once again, this is titled Trump to hold Butler rally nearly 3 months after the assassination attempt.
Former President Trump is making his return to Butler, Pennsylvania tomorrow, nearly 3 months after he came within inches of being assassinated during a rally there. Trump says he will pay tribute to the American spirit and firefighter Corey Compertor, who was killed that day.
It's going to be an amazing rally. You know, Butler has become quite a famous place. It's like a monument now. It'll be a really big event, and it's going to be something, we'll celebrate the life of Corey, I think. And I want to celebrate the 2 gentlemen that got hit really bad.
John Malice was at that July 13th rally and will be back there tomorrow. But first, he joins me now. John, thanks so much for joining us. I think there's going to be a lot of people watching this rally on TV on Saturday, but you're going to be there in person for the second time. So why was it important for you to go back?
Well, just kind of finish what we started. You know, that I've never been to a rally before, and my whole family was pretty excited about to go to this one. And the amount of people that were there was just unbelievable. I mean, we couldn't even get into the rally. We showed up on time, but there was at least 20,000 people ahead of us. And I suspect this time around there's going to be even more people. And we all just want to show our support for the president.
Yeah, more people and more security as well. But when it comes to security and you being there on Saturday, do you have any hesitations?
No hesitations. Of course, my guard's going to be up a little bit. You know, I'm worried about a copycat or something like that. But like you said, I think there's going to be much better security this time.
Well, yeah, they did change the security plan. They said that there's going to be better communication. There's certainly going to be officers on the AGR building, and there's also going to be drone surveillance. But bring us back to July 13th and what it was like for you that day. What did you see? What did you experience?
Well, first of all, it was a great experience. Everybody was really nice. It was very calm, very positive. That's one thing I noticed about everybody. Everybody was so positive and friendly, and it was just a shock to see what happened. Of course, we didn't get into the rally. We ended up on the fence line, which is where I shot that video. And you know, Thomas Crooks. Yeah, that's the video there. That's where you know, Thomas Crooks was firing right there, and it was just unbelievable. My family was panicking. Everybody was running.
Yeah.
We couldn't find each other after the shooting because we all kind of separated. And by the time we all got together and took off, we were all in shock.
Yeah, no doubt. And Donald Trump has talked about many times the reaction that he saw from the crowd, where a lot of people duck, but this group that you were a part of did not during the shooting, which is remarkable. And when it comes to you going back there on Saturday, you say that it's kind of the MAGA mentality to finish the job. What do you mean by that?
It's just that, we don't want to, give up. We don't want to be suppressed. And Donald Trump's the example there. When he got up and he said, fight, fight, fight. And now he's coming back, not just to Butler, but he's coming back to the same location to kind of show everybody that he's not going to be, afraid. He's not going to back down. He's going to finish what he started, and we're going to be there with him.
Yeah, and let's talk about the election, John. I mean, it's just about a month away, and polls show that this race is neck and neck. You live in Pennsylvania, so you have the on-the-ground vision of what the country feels like right now. So what do you think? How do you think the state is going to vote in November? Pennsylvania's must-win for both sides.
I don't know. I'm friends with a lot of Democrats, and I'm actually a registered Democrat myself. And a lot of the people that I know, they've been lifelong Democrats, multi-generational Democrats. They've always voted Democrat, and they're all voting for Trump.
Wow.
I work in a union business, and everybody here's a Democrat, and they're all voting for Trump.
Wait, so you said that you are a lifelong Democrat, but now you're voting for Donald Trump?
No, I'm not. I'm not
but your friends
Democrat.
are. And a lot of them are union guys. Why do they support Trump?
They just saw the difference between a Democrat-run country and a country that Trump was running. Things were so great with our business. It's just, the economy was better. We had a secure border. Everybody was living a great life under Trump, and then things changed drastically.
Very interesting insight on how this election can go. John, enjoy the rally on Saturday. It will be an historic day. John Malice, thank you so much for joining us.
I'm Steve Ducey. I'm Brian.
I think it's interesting they keep saying it's going to be a historical rally. I mean, yeah. Yeah, it will be. I think everyone is pretty historical, but I don't know. We'll see how it goes. We will be covering the Butler, Pennsylvania rally Saturday at some point in time. Let me look at what time it's actually supposed to be on there. Let me see. We'll be covering it live, but I want to know exactly what time it's supposed to be rolling. If I can find what I'm looking for. Doo-doo-doo. He's expected on stage at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. So we'll be doing Free Speech Saturdays, Coffee with Hooligans at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. And then at 5 p.m. Eastern Time, we'll be covering President Trump live back in Butler, Pennsylvania. It's going to be awesome. It's actually titled like that. President Trump returns for a historic rally in Butler, Pennsylvania. Well, it's going to be a good time. I know that. Next up, we got the last little bit of our news. It's titled, Michigan Dems Turning to the GOP Because They're at a Wit's End. It says Mike Rogers. Will be the last little bit of our news, but we have funny videos coming up afterwards. But right now, we're going to get into the chat. If I could talk, Jesus loves us. We're going to read through the chat really quick, and then we'll get on to that last little bit of news. Yes, Snooks, thank you for letting me know. 5 p.m. Eastern Time. Zero, every Democrat he knows is voting for Trump. Yep, it's the way to go. It's the way to go. The Democrats should vote for President Trump. Hyena Harris is a loser, even by the Democrat standards. Russell, they need a Predator drone. They need to fight for freedom. The guy was a little bit flabbergasted. He was like, we got to finish the job. She's like, what do you mean by that? He was like, She's like, you're looking like a white supreme pizza right now. He was like, oh shit, I don't know what to say. She got him for a second there. He wasn't ready. He needs some media training. Breezeway, you all Americans should vote for Trump. You're right. You're right. The only people who aren't voting for Trump are people who are really concerned with killing babies. That's it. And President Trump's not even going to do anything in that subject. What he wanted done has already been done. It's up to the states now whether or not they're going to let you kill your baby. But for some reason, they've convinced everybody that President Trump's going to do an abortion ban or whatever the hell. And so they're like, well, I got to vote for the ball sack with teeth because the other guy, he's going to ban killing babies. And it's like, come on now. Come on now. All you got to do is Google some shit and you'd figure it out. But no. Screaming Eagle, I ain't gay, but I love President Trump. I feel the same way, Screaming Eagle. Vote for Grandpa. That's what his grandkids say. Kicks, it'll be awesome if RFK is there. He might be. You never know. He was at, was it Oppressor? I think it was Oppressor the same day before the last town hall, which I can't remember what day that was because we cover President Trump like 3 times a day right now. But the last time he did a town hall earlier in the day, he did Oppressor, and RFK Jr. was there. And it's just random. Didn't even know he wasn't on the schedule. There was no notice. He was just there. And so I wouldn't be surprised if he showed up at the Butler, Pennsylvania rally, considering that they are considering that rally as historical. So maybe RFK Jr. will be there. Garlic press, lesbians for abortion. Yeah, basically. That's basically what it is. Out there looking like a stinking wet thumb, and then they're like, oh no, they're not going to let us kill babies. Like, what are you talking about? Over here looking like a silverback gorilla. Mm-hmm. All right, hooligans, I think we're going to move into this last little bit of the news for the day. It's titled Michigan Dems Turning to the GOP Because They Are at a Wit's End.
With us now.
I don't even know how many of these stories we've covered. Democrats jumping ships. We've been covering it all year. Anyways, let's get this rolling. And don't forget, hit that like button over on Rumble.
With us now is Michigan U.S. Senate candidate Mike Rogers, whom you just saw speaking there. Good to see you, sir. Thanks so much for coming on the program. Before we get into your race, can you talk about that rally there? You talked about that you don't think America could withstand another 4 years of what we've seen thus far. Can you talk about that, the response by the crowd?
The crowd was electric, and I've never seen such excitement. And by the way, they weren't all just standard Republicans coming in. When we talked through the crowd, a lot of people were, used to be a Democrat, or I still am a Democrat, but I can't vote for the Democrats this time. And why? Just think in the last 4 years, we're now importing more food than we export. We have the fact that we build more foreign cars in America than domestic cars. The interest payment on our national debt is going to be bigger than Department of Defense. Oh, and by the way, we just surpassed $1 trillion in credit card debt, which means people in Michigan are buying groceries at 23% interest. I mean, people are at wit's end. That's why you see all of these polls tightening in these battleground states. Listen, we're a working state. People like to call us the Rust Belt. We call ourselves the Work Belt in the great country of the United States and the great state of Michigan. We certainly do that.
Yeah. I just wanted to point out, too, and I'm sure our viewers couldn't miss the bright green neon shirts, the Teamsters for Trump, who were sitting right behind you. So to your point, sir, you've got a variety of people who wanted to hear from yourself and, of course, the former president. Let's talk about some polling in the state of Michigan. It's a very close race, as we've discussed in really all the swing states. But in your state, Trump ahead of Harris. This is for likely voters, according to a Trafalgar Group poll. And as we know, it can switch back and forth between polling. But here, a lead in Michigan. And we can even dive into your race. It's even closer when you look at some recent polling here, 47% to 47% in your race, sir, against Alyssa Slotkin. So what does this tell you about maybe voting trends that you're looking at or potential voters that you're hoping to connect with prior to Election Day?
Yeah, all we have to do is continue what we've been talking about, which is issues that matter to Michigan working families. I mean, we're in a hurt. I talked to a woman who worked part-time. Her husband works full-time. They have 4 kids. Breaks down crying because she was walking her through that the last 2 days of the month she has to go to the food pantry in order to get her groceries on the table to feed her kids. This is happening over and over and over again. So when you take a state like ours and you make it more expensive to buy groceries, more expensive to buy gasoline, more expensive on your electric bill, the rent payments here are just outrageous, like the rest of the country. But in Michigan, man, the rest of the place outside of Michigan catches a cold, we get pneumonia. We are really suffering. EV mandates are just doubling down and pouring salt in the wounds. And it's interesting that, Kamala Harris is now saying, well, we were just kidding about EV mandates. My opponent is saying, I really don't even like EV mandates. They voted on it time after time after time. So you can see that their whole narrative is collapsing, they being the Democrats. and we are winning on issues that matter to people. So our thing is, can we get to enough people to convince them that we have the right plan, not rhetoric, but the right plan to get them back on track? And that's why, Trump has gone up a couple of points. That's why we're tied. This looks really good for us, and they're starting to pull out all the stops. They even brought out Barack Obama into the state, and that just tells you they're in trouble.
There is no way that Helene Harris is going to win the election. The unions are all behind Trump. Everyone's behind Trump. I don't know anybody that's not behind Trump. There's no way. They're going to have such a hard time making us all believe that Helene Harris really won the stolen election. That's what I keep telling myself over and over again. I really hope that President Trump just wins in the end, but we saw what happened back in 2020. We covered every moment of those board meetings and whatnot with the Secretary of State of pretty much every state as they went and showed evidence of election irregularities and things like that, and everybody came to an agreement that 2020 was not the way that it should have been. But we all know what happened, so I'm waiting to see what's going to happen for this election. It just looks like it's going to be a landslide, and that doesn't mean that you should take it easy. It means you should vote that much harder. We should just try and make it all red. Everybody needs to go vote November 5th or whenever you're allowed to go vote. Go vote when you can vote. Yeah, we need election day, and maybe voting early might tell blue team how many extra votes they need, so they'll just print up a few ballots on their own. But either way, going out there to vote is the right thing to do, whether it's raining, cold, windy, snowy, fire raining from the sky. You need to get your ass out there and go vote. You got to vote. You got to vote like your vote is the only vote that's going to matter. Get your ass out there and vote for President Trump November 5th so we can stop living in filth. Stop having dudes and women's sports. We could close the damn border. We can deport these border crossers in mass numbers and so on and so forth. Become energy independent and, the things and stuff that President Trump is promising all of us. I know he keeps promising no tax on tips, on overtime, on Social Security. That's going to be a tough one to pass. But the border crosser situation and the dudes that are invading women's sports, locker rooms, bathrooms, that bullshit needs to stop now. And so that's why I'm voting for President Trump. I'm sure all of you hooligans have your own reasons for voting for President Trump. But the moral of the story is we got to go out there and actually do it. It ain't going to happen on its own. We can't just rely on our fellow Americans to get the job done. We have to go do that. We have to go vote. Can't vote soon enough. We got a little bit more than 30 days until it's time to go vote the Orange Eagle in. I'm going to make a good time out of it. Anyways, we're going to read through the chat really quick, see what you hooligans think about that last little bit of news we have. Then we're going to be getting into our fun stuff. This first video is titled, What the Diddy Raid Was Like. And then our official funny video of the day is titled, Why Are You Talking About Subaru Like That? Now, before we get into these funny videos, we're going to read through the chat really quick, see what you hooligans think about that last video there. Russell, no tax on tits is important. I agree, Russell. I agree. What's up, RK? Happy freedom. Zero, no more wars. Yeah, President Trump is going to get the Ukraine and Russia and all that stuff straightened out. And then, whatever is going on in the Middle East right now and people bombing each other, I'm sure President Trump can handle that too, just like he'll be able to handle the dock worker strike and anything else. I mean, he's out there trying to provide aid to people that are suffering from Hurricane Helene while FEMA ran out of money. FEMA ran out of money, but President Trump didn't. He had the whole damn government coming after him, tying him up in court and paying stupid fines and all kinds of other stupid shit. And he still has enough money to help out Americans while the federal government just ran out. They got money for the Ukraine, but they don't have money for us. That's how it goes. Breeze by you, Trump is like Superman. He's everywhere. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. Zero, I wonder how many people will be recording the election results this time. It's hard to say. It'll be interesting when poll workers and all that stuff starts, becoming a regular thing for a couple days. We'll be hearing about incidents happening, machines going down, strange stuff, because it happens every 2 years. We cover that because even in the midterms, a bunch of weird stuff happens all the time. So I'm sure we'll be busy with it once we get closer to voting season. Reading through. Breeze by you fake water main breaks. Yep. Yep. All rise. Imagine that. We give everyone our money. Everyone except for us. All rise. I can't read that out loud, but we've had so many discussions on what it would be like to be in the bathroom and have the other gender come in pretending to be you. You know, pretending to be one of you. I don't know. They just pull up to the urinal and lift their hood up. I'm like, I don't know. That's it's not gonna work. It's not gonna work out. Era 16, vote like your life depends on it. Absolutely. Hopefully we don't have any 3 a.m. ballot drops like we had in 2024. Danny, too big to rig. They're going to cause a war. We'll see how it goes. It's going to be tense. I know that. Screaming Eagle, Trump should be president right now. We all know they stole it. You're right, Screaming Eagle. He should be. But if he was, who would we be voting for right now? We'd be voting for Ron DeSantis, maybe? Probably. Because I don't think it'd be Nikki Haley, but maybe it would. She was the last contendant. Would you want to be voting between Hyena Harris and and what's his face right now, Nikki Haley? I can't remember what I said. I said her. She's got a chin like a beer bottle. Grab that bitch by the chin. Anyways, I wouldn't want to be voting between those two idiots. No matter what, everybody who's an idiot right now would get what they wanted. Because right now they're like, well, I'm going to vote for the woman. Yeah, well, what if it was Hyena Harris versus Nikki Haley? We'd really be in the shitter. And everybody'd be like, yeah, we're going to have a woman president. Yeah, which one's going to run us into the ground first? Like, holy. Anyways. No, man, Crowder's going to be expanding mad resources for the next election. That's why I keep hearing them say, we'll see. For the exact, well, I mean, I guess it would be Harris, Nikki Haley, and RFK Jr. right now. That's what it would be. And I bet a lot of people would vote for RFK Jr. over Nikki Haley. But I don't know. I'm kind of glad we're not in that situation. What's up, Cassandra? Happy freedom. RK, the movie They Live is free on Tubi. Thank you for letting me know. I'm definitely going to check that out. Tubi's got a lot of good movies and TV shows on there, and if you got Brave browser, you don't even have to watch the commercials. Snooks, lift up their hood. You know what I mean. Just grab that lasagna nice and hard and just pull it up. Yeah, it's not Saturday. It feels like it, though. Holy. Holy. Kicks, they definitely screwed Tulsi. Yeah, it seems like they're doing her, well, her and RFK Jr. They do them both really bad. I don't know a whole lot about Tulsi Gabbard. I'm just now learning about her. But RFK Jr., he didn't have a breath. He didn't have anything. Every chance they got, they were screwing him over. They didn't want him on the ballot. Then they got him on the ballot. Then he said he's taking his name off the ballot in the battleground states because it'll hurt President Trump. Here in Michigan, they refuse to take his name off the ballot. Like, damned if you do and damned if you don't. You know, that's how it's going. It's rough stuff. It's rough stuff. Let's see. Hooligans Island. Have you seen the new Civil War movie? Is that what it's coming to? I haven't seen the movie yet. I actually heard that it sucked. I was all excited to go see it, and then everybody who saw it said it sucked ass. And so I didn't watch it. But if there is a way to watch it, I do want to. What's up, Proud Patriot Girlie? Happy freedom. Big chap, walls for Trump. I'm still waiting on the old man Walter endorsement. I thought that's what he was doing at the press briefing earlier today. He's going to come out and give his vote to President Trump. Hooligans Island's on Max right now. So I got a little bit of time to wait. I don't have Max. I keep thinking about getting it, but I already pay for like 3 or 4 other streaming services. And I don't even know why, because I just watch the same stuff over and over again. That's why I got DVDs on my wish list, so I could just get rid of this streaming platforms. Screaming Eagle, please don't make me throw up in my mouth. Well, you know, Norman, you've never seen They Live? No. I have not. I have a bunch of recommendations. I just don't have a lot of time to be watching movies. It's either time or access. One or the other always gets in the way. But I have a list of movies you guys keep suggesting to me. A lot of Clint Eastwood movies and stuff like that. So we're going to get into our funny videos of the day here. But before we do that, I want to remind you guys really quick. If you would like to support the live to keep us running, you're welcome to use that Linktree link in the description in order to make donations. And you can do that by using PayPal, Cash App, Stripe, Locals, Buy Me a Coffee, or you can even send crypto. We're going to get into this first funny video here. It's titled, What the Diddy Raid Looked Like. Doo-doo-doo. It's going to be a good one. All right, let's get into it, hooligans. And don't forget, hit that like button over on Rumble.
I'll show you right here. Well, you got a dead hooker in the trunk. What? No, it can't be. Yes, it was. It was a dead hooker. There wasn't a dead hooker! Pal, I know a dead hooker when I see one. What's happening? Hey, folks, yeah, come on down. Hey, here's another dead hooker in this trunk. What? Oh, my goodness. What are you doing? I've never seen so many dead hookers in all my life.
Lord knows I have.
Holy. What's really funny about that is all the things I can't tell you guys on the live with all the rappers that I think are going to go down like Diddy. I posted all of their images on the website. So if you have a membership for the website, you can see all the things that I can't tell you on the live. Anyways, we're going to get on to our official funny video of the day. It's titled, Why Are You Talking About Subaru Like That? And this is a really funny one. You guys are going to be rolling. Yes. Let's go ahead and get this started.
Don't worry, Jews, you're safe here. All the lesbians are up at Columbia, so you got nothing to worry about. You got nothing to worry about. The lesbians done took over the Palestine protests. Columbia looks like a Subaru dealership. Have you seen Columbia? I went up to Columbia. I thought the roller derby was in town. I see people asking like, yo, why do lesbians care so much about Palestinians? I was, it's not Palestinians, it's just Muslims. Lesbians really care about Muslims because they too know what it's like to go down on a carpet 5 times a day.
Yes. That's a good one. Well, hooligans, that is all the coffee I had for you guys today. I'm going to drop this Linktree link to all of you guys in the chat. We will be live again later today, but first, 6 p.m. Eastern time, we're going to be over on the website having a voice chat. So definitely go get yourself a membership. That way you can join us because it's going to be a lot of laughs. And then 7 p.m. Eastern time, we are going to be covering President Trump live. I think it's in North Carolina. I don't have the schedule right in front of my face right now. But either way, 7 p.m. Eastern time, President Trump will be live for a town hall, and we're going to be covering it live. So definitely look forward to that. All right, there is all of the Linktree links where all of my links are listed. So if you would like to make donations, join membership programs, or purchase any merch, I would really appreciate it. All of your guys' contributions keep us running every day except for Sunday, because we got to have a day to recharge those batteries. Definitely go join Discord. Discord is our free hooligan community. It's the best way to be notified every single time we go live. The hooligans are there keeping the conversation going 24/7, and we have 2 news boards to keep you up to date with everything going on around the world. So definitely go join Discord. If you're feeling real saucy, go join jeffmaclive.com. Not only is it the best way to support the live, but you'll also be able to watch the live on the best platform there is to watch it on. Our live chat has more ability than any other platform. You can post memes and GIFs, custom emojis and links right there in the chat, as well as customize your chat bubbles and names, plus all kinds of other stuff. Like I said, it's the best way to experience the live. You'll also have access to Hooligans Alley, which is our own private social media area. It's kind of like Facebook or Twitter, kind of mixed together, but there's no crying liberals, there's no fact checkers, there's no crazy community guidelines or anything like that. It's the way that social media is supposed to be. You'll also have access to our forums, which is to encourage open discussion about a plethora of topics. And then you'll have access to our arcade that has a ton of games to play for free, which is a lot of fun, and it adapts to your phone, so that way it's not all clunky and stuff. You can just burn hours being at the arcade. I have to stay the hell away from the arcade because I'll just let 3-4 hours pass me by sitting there playing the game. But with a membership, you'll also have access to our advanced messaging system that gives you the ability to text each other, call each other, video call each other, group texting, group calling, group video calling, and more. There's a lot of stuff going on over on jeffmaclive.com because I work on it every day, so definitely go get yourself a membership because jeffmaclive.com is the home of the Hooligans. All right, we're going to read through the chat really quick and see what you hooligans think about today's coffee. Then we will be doing the Pledge of Allegiance and wrapping things up. But like I said, at 6 p.m. Eastern Time, we're going to be over on the website having a voice chat, which is a lot of fun. And then at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, we will be covering President Trump live for a town hall. Let me double check on where exactly he's going to be. President Trump to host a town hall in Fayetteville, North Carolina. Now, I don't know if that's how you say it or not. Google it. I don't know what to tell you. Either way, it's going to be live in North Carolina about 7 p.m. Eastern Time, and we're going to be covering it right here. So hopefully I see all of you guys back here 7 p.m. Eastern Time for President Trump. We're going to read through really quick, and we got the Pledge of Allegiance, and we're wrapping things up. Thank you for letting me know, Snooks. Russell, damn Subaru dealerships. I know, he smoked me. I was like, why? why you gotta do that? The Muff Eater Supreme sitting out there in the parking lot. Russell, dead hookers. Where's the cocaine? Diddy didn't know, but Diddy did it. Snooks, you sure look handsome today. Well, thank you, Snooks. Thank you, Breeze by You. Appreciate you being here with us. Thank you, MU. Thank you, Pumpkin. All Rise. Arcades are so fun. The arcade on the website is a lot of fun. It is a lot of fun. And I have a bunch of games I'm going to add to it, but right now there's like 10 games or something, and they're all a lot of fun. Thank you, AR16. Appreciate you being here. Thank you, Kung Fu. Hopefully I see you later. For the text, and what's his name? I forgot. I don't know his name. I can't remember. His name's not Tony. I can't remember what his name is. David, yeah, I'll try and watch the movie tonight. I didn't realize it was on Tubi. I actually watched Tubi quite a bit. Free Thinker Text. Let me see if I can find his name really quick. Let me see.
Don't worry, Jews.
Andrew Schulz. Schulz? S-C-H-U-L-Z. Schulz. I don't know. Andrew Schulz. Thank you, Noman. Appreciate you being here. Air 16, we will be. We will be back. Thank you, Rappy. Garlic Press, if Diddy pleads guilty and doesn't go to trial, that means that all of the information he has, the people won't come out for quite a while. Well, Garlic Press, there's people that are running an investigation, and they plan on letting loose the names on the list, regardless of what Diddy has going on. Like, no matter what he pleads. They're planning on releasing this list, but, you know, they all kind of say that. So we won't know until we actually get it. Hurley Girl, Diddy is icky. Can't wait for the Black Book to come out, just like the Epstein's. Not going to hold my breath. We all know it goes too deep, and that's just the damn truth. Yeah, Hurley Girl. Yep, that's what I was just saying. They say they're going to release it, but we'll see. We'll see. We'll be back, Proud Patriot Girly. We'll be back in like 3 hours. Cheeky Chops, you crack me up. Hey, I appreciate you being here, RK. Thank you, Zero. Alright, hooligans, it is that time once again. Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, did the thing. I can't never tell if I muted myself or not because my software is still fucked up. It just doesn't show anything for my microphone, so I don't know if you can hear me or not. I just assume you can. I don't know. They'll have to fix that with an update or some shit. Anyways, like I've said a million times, we are going to be on the website 6 p.m. Eastern time for our voice chat. Normally it lasts for 2 hours, but President Trump's going to be live at 7 p.m. Eastern time. So we'll be at the website at 6, and we'll be covering President Trump live 7 p.m. Eastern time for the town hall in North Carolina. So definitely look forward to it. If I don't see you guys tonight, I will see you tomorrow, 1 p.m. Eastern time for Free Speech Saturdays, Coffee with Hooligans, which means there's not going to be any YouTube tomorrow. Plus, we'll be covering the Butler, Pennsylvania rally at 5 p.m. Eastern time after Free Speech Saturdays, Coffee with Hooligans. So definitely look forward to that. You can use the Linktree link if you don't know how to get anywhere from YouTube. I know YouTube's a communist prison over there, so if you've never left the plantation, use that Linktree link. The first 7 links are all different platforms that don't hate you like YouTube does. So look forward to that tomorrow when you need to utilize it. Otherwise, we're going to read through the chat one last time just to make sure everybody is good and no one's left behind, and then we're wrapping her up. Holy, thank you so much, David, for that $76 donation over on Rumble. What a badass. Thank you so much for all the support. It says, I'm also good, buddy, and relaxation on YouTube. This was overdue. Well, thank you so much for the support. I really appreciate it. You guys are the best. Kicks, no, I'm not on OBS. I'm on Streamlabs right now. I get better use out of Streamlabs than OBS for some reason. I don't know why it's like that, but it is. It could also be Windows. I'm on Windows 10. Could be a Windows thing. Thank you, Hurley Girl. Appreciate you being here. Much love to you. Appreciate you, Cruz. Thank you, Tony Rich. What's up, Toy Mafia? Happy Freedom. Appreciate you being with us. All right, Hooligans. I think we are good to go. Think we're good. Oh, you have fun, Matt, and be safe out there. The damn crazies and whatnot. All right, Hooligans, like I said, 6 p.m. Eastern time over on the website. Get yourself a membership so you could join us for the voice chat, which is a lot of fun. If I don't see you over on the website, I will see you right here, 7 p.m. Eastern time today for the town hall with President Trump live. Look forward to that. I feel like I'm forgetting something now. There's no way I'm forgetting anything. I will see you guys later. Huge shout out to everyone that made donations, joined the membership programs, or purchased any merch. I really appreciate all of you Hooligans, and I wouldn't be able to do any of this if it wasn't for you. So thank you so much for all your support, and I'll see you on the next live. Until then, stand tall, shine bright, and that's a wrap.